Hey guys, and welcome to Death Before Dishonour Season 4. It's been a long time coming. I'm super excited to bring you this stream as we've gone for a little bit of a different setup this season. And that involves bringing in a lot more players. So as you can hopefully see up on the screen right now, you can see Pacta is going up against Enticity in the first semi-finals, and Hadri's up against Tank in semi-finals number 2. But also what you may have seen is the amount of competitors we had today. I believe it was 22 or 20 or something along those lines, which is huge for us compared to our normal, four-man tournaments. So we can track the different approaches our players played. So Pacta managed to take down Happy Puppy here, which is an awesome name, and Poison Ducky to reach the semi-final, where Enticity had to go the long route here and win 3 games back-to-back up against Geese Howard, the real Faust, who is certainly a very tough competitor who's knocked me out of tournaments before, as well as Galahad 97 in a close 2-1 series. And for our second semi-finalist, Hadri's had to beat V-Claw himself, RTK representative right there, before taking down Park Map to meet Tank here, and Tank has taken down Noob for Life and Capped Tellus, so should be a certain, pretty damn crazy games overall. Honestly, these semi-finals have some of the best players we've had in before, so should be some good fun. So let's quickly take down that and hop in the lobby and see if these guys are ready. Don't know if Duck's live or not, looks like they're ready. Good to go. Best of luck, lads. So well played to everyone so far who's been playing in the tournament. It's been very exciting and a little bit different as well, trying to manage this type of thing as we haven't done much of it before. But it looks like Pacta is going Empire here up against Anticity's Beastmen. Should be a fun game indeed. Anticity going Beastmen is something I have not seen before. He is an incredibly good defensive player with his Dowie and his Vampire Coast and so forth. So it should be interesting to see how he flips on us. I can't lose this. 0 gold. Pacta is coming in confidence. Let's hop in here. Straight away into the first battle. What's up, Palpatine? General Kenobi. Hope you're doing all good, man. Yes, we are live. This is exciting times. Honestly, between these 4 players, I think any of them on their day could quite comfortably win this. So we are doing the 2 best-of-3 semi-finals like usual with a best-of-5 finals. The one difference this time is the semi-finals are going to take place on the same maps. So both the first matchup and Hades versus Tank are going to be played on Altdorf Outskirts, Valley of Thieves, and Kelp and Coldust. And we're going to improvise the final maps, making a nice mixture of large, medium, and small maps from the correct sources as well. We're going to make sure they're nice competitive maps. But anyway, let's hop in here and check out Pacta's build. So I've seen Pacta play a ton on the channel before. He's mainly an elf main, but rocking Boris Todbringer's Empire this time, so he's going to be up in the skies. We also have a Deathcaster here, coming with Spirit Leech, which is very powerful indeed. And also, is that Doom and Darkness? It is indeed Doom and Darkness. Quite powerful up against the low leadership of the Beastmen. We have a Warrior Priest as well on a Mighty Stallion here, coming in with Shield of Faith and Hammer of Sigma, the competitive picks that you would expect in this matchup. We also have a ton of Spearmen, looks like 4 units to be exact, a couple units of Huntsmen, which if he's allowed to protect these guys, which is easier said than done considering Beastmen are one of the best swarming factions in the game, they do some fantastic damage up against the large threats the Beastmen can bring. We also have a mixture of more Spearmen and Swordsmen in the front lines, including Sigma Suns and some Flagellants, so nice Unbreakable mixed in there as well to really help protect these Huntsmen. We have triple Empire Knights here, 2 Reichsguard and 1 Empire Knights. The Empire Knights are chevroned up 1 notch as well. These guys, you don't need to go too hardcore up against the Beastmen. Heavy Cav in general just does a decent job, but super fun build overall. Going to be taking a relatively nice defensive formation here, mainly to protect these 2 Huntsmen and allow them to get the damage. But I like not over-investing in the guns and the long range when you're up against Beastmen, as they're a pain in the butt to hunt down and stop breaking into your back lines. So for the forces of Anticity here, in the front lines, we have a mixture of Ungor Spearherds protecting some Ungor Raiders dotted all the way along here. So nice, cheap and cheerful chaff, just to slowly whittle down those state troops. Over on this right hand flank we do have some Chaos Warhounds of Poison, Centaurs and Razorgore herds. Razorgore's probably the greatest value for money unit in the game, arguably. 550 gold, you get 24 Rampaging Piggies who have decent armor piercing and mass to pin in their foes. Looks like we also have some Minotaurs with great weapons to add a little bit more punch to this build. A Brave Shaman of Wild coming in just though not with any summons. This is pretty interesting indeed. Just coming in with the Vile Tide. We have no way. We have a basic Beast Lord, no Morga the Shadow Gave. That is some exciting stuff. So we have a Beast Lord wielding his 2 axes here on top of a Razorgore Chariot. More Minotaurs, also a Brave Shaman of Death. And what's in the distance here? More Razor Gore herds and more skirmishers into the sunset. So nice build overall. Can the brave men of the Empire hold back the sheer volume of beastmen here? They are heavily outnumbered, I would assume. Oh no, actually, I take that back. The forces of the Empire are going to be washing over the beastmen here. So nice targeting straight off the bat. Ungor Raiders targeting down the naked flagellants, which is the perfect pick. But this is going to be interesting. The Huntsmen really need to take down those Minotaurs. There's not too much else in this build which can stop them. A really nice Vile Tide coming down, getting some good value straight away off those Flagellants, who are going to need to fall back and get a bit of protection. The Beastmen taking a nice chilled approach here, just poking where they can. These Ungor Raiders getting a little bit too close to these Right Guard for comfort, but at the same time, Minotaurs being pulled up in a bit of a supporting role as well. Finn's certainly starting off well for the Beastmen, doing some nice little poke, but nothing too crazy so far. Nothing game-breaking, as the Chaos Warhounds of Poison and Tentacles do start to wrap around the back here, and to be honest, they could probably push through this gap right now and hop on top of these Huntsmen, completely shutting them down. They're currently trying to trade fire of the Ungor Raiders, which isn't the best matchup for them, just cost-wise, as the Empire Knights do fall back through the Spear Herds, running away from these Minotaurs, which is a really good idea. Minotaurs, though, not going to take the bait, as they get fended off by a few arrows from the Huntsmen. We have a big overload on this flank, as Minotaurs have pushed through the side here, overwhelming the Rogue's Guard and Spearmen, and now getting some really nice rear attacks into this side of the formation. I expect the rest of the Beastmen to slowly follow suit, as Reichsguard and Boris do start to countercharge here, and this poor Shaman of Death here is completely stuck and isolated on his own, and Boris is certainly going to lay down the whipping and they lay down the law here. Minotaurs as well, slowly being dragged down, but it's a complete and utter mess for the Empire at the moment, as pressure is coming from all sides. Chaos Warhounds, Centaurs hopping into the back lines, and these Huntsmen are absolutely done for. But nice play by Pacta, taking his Knights wherever he can and counter-charging as much as possible. Looks like we do have Shield of Faith and Hammer of Sigma coming down in this big blob fight, which is really going to help out the leagued forces of the Empire, as Boris does constantly float up into the air and slam back down, trying to get that nice cycle charge in. He has managed to rampage some Razor Gores here as well, so really close engagement so far. Balance power dead even. Looks like the Huntsmen have been saved for the most part in the centre pocket, and they really need to get firing in on these Minotaurs where possible. Looks like this unit over here has actually started to rout as well, with a well-placed Doom and Darkness coming in, which has been a real good key actually for the Empire winning this centre pocket here, completely shattering Razor Gore herds, although a number of their own troops are starting to flee as well. But Boris incredibly healthy and coming out on top here. As for the rest of the battle, the forces of the Empire holding much better in the centre and on the left-hand sides, and they've managed to protect this back line really well after that initial danger. So both Huntsmen are a little bit beat up, but they're now starting to rain shots in. And I feel like the Empire is certainly starting to take a little kind of step forward in the balance of power and in the driving seat. Spearmen are back here to protect these guys, but in comes some chariots. Now this could be a big game changer here. They can simply run over these Huntsmen very effectively as they desperately try and flee behind the ranks of the Spearmen. The Razor Gore herds, or chariots, sorry, have quite a decent amount of mass and can simply bounce between the two combats here, shutting these guys down. Apart from that, Knights being used very effectively to drive off the Brave Shaman of Death and Tentacles. Look how much value this one unit of Empire Knights is getting. Already chevroned up once, can be driving off all of these units of the Beastmen. In the main fight, though, this Warrior Priest needs to flee for his life from these Minotaurs, and there is still 2 units of these guys left. The Huntsmen certainly going to be needed to bring them down, as they're relatively tanky. In the back line, though, looks like Centaurs have managed to hop on top of these Huntsmen, who need to run once again. The Spearmen just don't know which way to look. There's Chaos Warhounds one way and Centaurs the other. It's just certainly not going to be much of a good time for them, as these guys do get sandwiched. At the same time, the Deathcaster has been forced off as well. Boris needs to get his arse over here and try and save his troops. Empire Knights do get a nice rear charge, but they're not going to have enough punching power to stay in there for the long haul. And a ton of Empire troops are breaking here as another Vile Tide goes down in the distance. Boris does hop in here, and he's a bit of a beastie combatant himself. Going to be trying to drag down some of these Minotaurs where possible. The balance of power almost dead even still, quite late into the game here. Warrior Priest needs to hop in here and start dropping some of his buffs, as this is a make or break combination here for the game. In he comes, and he does manage to drop Shield of Faith and Hammer of Sigma, but not before a ton of the Empire forces do already break. Boris needs to get up in there and do some more cycle charging as well. The Brave Shaman of the World taking a bit of damage, but a really nice Doom and Darkness. I'm actually really liking that ability. Haven't seen it used too often. Look at all the Beastmen troops break. They were winning this engagement, as you can see by all the Empire forces running away. But that lovely Doom and Darkness forcing all these, tentative units who weren't too sure if they were going to win this fight now are certainly running for the hills. Empire Knights and Reichsguard can now chase them down. So, the Brave Shaman of Wild running for the hills. I would honestly just take Deathcaster and force this guy off, ensure that he is gone for good. Well, Boris more than capable of dealing with Beastmaster, and Anticity is going to pull out that game. What a game, guys! Really well played by Pacta and Anticity. Managed to break down the Empire forces quite quickly and sneak into that back line, but very nice play with the Knights, allowed Pacta to resecure his Huntsman. They did the damage, and Doom and Darkness really coming in clutch there, breaking the forces of the Beastmen. So it's going to be 1-0 to Pacta there. GG. GG, well played. Man, 0 gold OP. Damn right, 0 gold is OP. So we are going to be playing on Valley of Thieves next. Don't worry, guys. I will come chat to you in a little second. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 mortars, so we'll have to be looking at my phone, of course. So I'll have to do, part way through. Anticity is going Coast and banning Dowie and Tomb Kings, which is probably to be expected. So let's quickly update the scoreboard here. Dun, 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 dun. Where are you? Interact. Pacta taking this 1-0, and this is a best of 3 semi-final, so he could manage to break into the finals here with 1 more victory. So how you guys doing today? Hope you all enjoyed that first game. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, the boy Red Legion? How's it going, man? Me and Red Legion definitely need to get some games in soon. Been meaning to play them for a little while now. Hello there. Troll Country, of course. You're going to say Blue River Reach. Racto Ridge also counts as Troll Country now, by the way. What's up, Darth Pendragon? Nice to see you, man. What did you miss? Just the first game of these semi-finals. So it is Pacta against Anticity in this round. And then we have Hadri's versus Tank in the second semi-finals, which is pretty crazy. What's up, Magnus? Well played in the tournament as well. Pacta managing to play. This is new. For those who don't know, Pacta is notorious for just about missing all of my King of the Hills and tournaments by about 5 seconds, unfortunately for him. You didn't see that coming either, I bet. That is true. So Anticity, very well known for his Vampire Coast play and Dowie play overall. Very fantastic backline protector. It's so hard to break into that outer shell of his and get to his nice juicy troops on the inside. Pacta, a master of all the elven factions. I'm surprised not to see any Wood Elves. Didn't Anticity ban Wood Elves? Dun, 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 dun. No, Dowie and Tomb Kings. I would have thought Pacta gone Wood Elves, but perhaps he's keeping them in his back pocket as well as the Dark Elves. Real question though is the build mind games. Oh god, all the mind games are starting to set off here. Yeah, hope you guys do enjoy this new format. So, the way Death Before Dishonor always worked before, it was 4 4-man tournaments. The winner of each one would come together for a grand finals, and we still are doing that here on the channel. But 2 of the qualifiers now each season are going to be open to everyone, and the other 2 are going to be first come, first serve on my Discord and just 4-man tournaments. Which should be some good fun. Really great use of the Doom and Darkness. Doom and Darkness did so well. Like, so good there. Doom and Darkness. Pacta is the lord of Doom and Darkness from now on. 5 seconds, more like 1 to 2 hours. More like, it depends. He misses, like, the announcement by about 1 to 2 hours, which is normally when we end up just streaming a hip-hop at the end. Like, can I play? Like, sorry, bro. It is unfortunately not possible. But yes, yes. That was a nice quick game to start off. And these guys falling back to some of their more traditional picks here. Valley of Thieves, nice open map as well, which could well suit the forces of the coast. There's not too many places for the sneaky elves to hide and get the upper hand on them. However, you can bring Shadow Warriors and so forth, which can do pretty decent here. If I was Pacta though, honestly, I would be going so many cheap missiles, archers, Lothran Seaguard, all that good stuff into the sunset. Illyrian Reavers to pressure that backline as well and pray that Anticity doesn't go for a crab rush. And even if he does, enough arrows can force him down. You guys ready for the trailer tomorrow, Raptor? I am so hyped. I cannot explain how hyped I am for that new trailer. So for those who don't know, CA released a little snippet on their Twitter page, I believe it was, with a little hint that a DLC is coming soon. And when they tend to do this, they normally 24 hours later drop the trailer for the DLC. I wonder what it's going to be mimicking this time. They often take a movie and or like events and so forth, and kind of pay homage in their trailers. They've done Jurassic Park before, Predator, all that good stuff. So we'll have to see. I will certainly be bringing you guys the news on that as well. But what do you guys think it's going to be? I'm assuming it's High Elves Greenskins. The little snippet definitely shows Greenskins, and it's been pretty much confirmed. Not quite confirmed, but everyone is saying that it is going to be High Elves. 5 Archers, 5 Seaguard is my pick in this matchup. Yeah, Storm I agree. Honestly, cheap and cheerful missile fire and just try and shred the zombies. I've actually been taking some Wood Elves against Coast recently and bringing no front line whatsoever. Just going ranged troops and trying to obliterate the enemy. And it can work very well. So any questions, feel free to ask them in this downtime here while we do just wait for these guys to set up their builds. I'm going to be taking a drink, trying to keep myself awake. Unfortunately, I didn't sleep much last night, so hopefully my commentary will still be top-notch. But who knows, who knows. As long as I don't fall asleep partway through, we'll be all good. But these guys, I'm sure, are going to give me some blood-pumping games to keep me awake and alert. Would be fun if it was a Mussolini DLC. Oh man, that'd be awesome actually, if they brought those guys in as well. I will try and say your name, man, but I would butcher it horrifically. So, welcome to the channel. Hope you do enjoy and stick around, man. David the White Lizard, what's up, man? On Reddit, we saw a chariot, so it would probably be Grom. That is pretty damn epic. It'd be funny if it wasn't greenskins after that. That'd be such a meme, Zootron. That'd be horrible. Yeah, Ballkeep. I agree, man. I agree. Although I much would prefer Imric the Dragon Prince. I think he may be a free legendary lord if we're going to get him, though, not a full lord. 0 gold again. Beware. Looks like Pacta is pumped and on a roll today. He's played very good. I was speaking to him just before the tournament, and he was saying he's a little bit rusty. He hadn't played for too long, but certainly showing his teeth today. So these boys are ready, so we're going to be hopping in here. Sometimes, honestly, coming to a game completely cold can actually do wonders for your game if you get in a bit of a rut and kind of stuck playing. Sometimes taking a step back, taking a few days off and coming back can actually improve your game quite a bit. Geese of the mini-clans. You would like a Ghost Eagle. That sounds pretty powerful. Pretty powerful indeed. What are you hoping for the greenskin side of things? Imric would honestly make me play High Elf so much more than I currently do. But anyway, let's get in here. So, for the forces of Pacta and the High Elves here, trying to take this best of 3 series as early as possible. Looks like we have cheap and cheerful spearmen in the front line, which is to be expected. They'll still be destroyed by mortars, but they're relatively cheap, and it's not the end of the world if they do, although one of them is cheveled up a little bit. We have some white lines of chase as well, you don't often get to see, but these guys do decent AP, so can help deal with crabs and so forth, and add a bit more of a punch as well to those a little bit more flimsy and elegant spearmen. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Lothran Seaguard, as to be expected. They can deal with scurvy dogs and so forth. We push into the back line, and at the same time have relatively good archer fire. Should be able to help take zombies down from long range. We have 1, 2, 3 Illyrian Reavers as well for backline harass. These guys actually hit incredibly hard on the charge and can really destroy a carronade or a mortar team incredibly quickly. He's also gone for double Eagle Claw Bolt Throws, so going to attempt to outshoot the coast here, which is always a risky gambit, but can, if it pays off, you know, pits the opponent straight away on the back foot, have those zombies slowly march towards you up a hill, is disastrous for the coast. Looks like we have a noble up on an eagle here. Very cool pick coming in from Pacta. Don't get to see this guy on his eagle too often at all. Looking like an absolute badass up there. Well, saying that, he's kind of just squatting on the eagle, but still looking very cool. And down low, we have Teclis, who does come in with Regrowth, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and the Net, which is always good, and of course his Potion. So one of the most competitive picks. I like this build quite a lot, very well balanced and able to deal with both crab rushes and a more defensive approach. If we have a quick look here at the forces of Anticity and his favourite zombie pirate forces, we have zombie pirate deckhand mobs in the front line, cheap and cheerful just to hold the enemy back. 1 unit of bombers as well, and these guys will do wonders up against spearmen and really help these zombies pay for themselves, launching those shots up and over the top. I believe a tactic made popular by King of the Dead, who is the current king actually of Death Before Dishonour. Looks like we have 1 unit of deck gunners as well, flanked by some zombie pirate gunnery mob handguns on either side. 1 unit in the back as well, protecting 2 carronades. We have Count Noculus as well for that long-range firepower, coming in with his dial, no doubt. Yes, he has the moon dial for some more zombie summons. We have a Wraithstorm, Invocation in the Heck, and Drowned Dead, so all the competitive spells you'd expect. Mongols, 2 units of them on the left-hand side, and 1 unit on the right. Also a couple of Scurvy Dogs as well, protecting that back line. So super well-balanced build as well, certainly looking to outshoot his opponent, but at the same time has the Mongols for that added bit of punch. Bolt Throws, though, will trade relatively effectively up against carronades, I believe, simply due to their accuracy, which will force forward this coast build. Then again, Noculus might be able to swing that artillery battle in his favour. Looks like the Eagle just floating forward now as the Eagle Claw Bolt Throws do start to push up as well. This Eagle going to have to play a very dangerous game here. If he gets pinned down for just a few moments, he'll get obliterated and filled with holes. But at the same time, he can be a powerful melee combatant, can certainly deal with Count Noculus very effectively, and even counter the Mongols as well if he does get a nice charge on them. couple of early cannon shots do aim at Teclis here, but he's going to be duking back and forth as the forces of the High Elves, sorry, I was about to say Empire there, do start to advance in beautiful formation. And speaking of beautiful formations, looks like a formation of cannonballs there hit Teclis in the dome, taking a few shots there. He's going to have to continue to juke for a very long time, although it looks like the cannons have started to switch onto the white lines of chase, which isn't a bad idea at all, trying to get the more elite infantry off the field. So it looks like Scurvy Dogs have realised no one's in their back line, so they're going to be pushing forward one either flank just to pressure as much as possible. However, they do not want to tangle Illyrian Reavers, who will dump them very quickly, especially if they get the charge. And in come the bolt throwers, releasing a few shots here, although they are going for their spray shot at the moment, and actually trying to target down the bombers rather than the carronades, which is a pretty interesting pick. I would certainly want to get those carronades off the field as quickly as possible, even though the zombie gunnery mob bombers do a decent amount of damage to the front line. Scurvy Dogs starting to wrap around her, and the High Elves need to be careful. They only have one unit of spearmen actually on top of the bolt throwers protecting them. Looks like this unit has actually abandoned their bolt throwers as well, perhaps trying to drag away the shots off the carronade, which is focusing them down. At the same time, Illyrian Reavers pushing back the Scurvy Dogs wherever they find them. More cannon shots coming in, but really nice play by Pact here. Dragging the Eclaw bolt thrower crew away means they're going to be missing those artillery pieces. High Elves are advancing here though, trying to take the initiative as much as possible, but they are going to be in range of the deck guns and bombers very soon, and the bombers are really healthy here, are going to tear apart spearmen and get such good value. These Lothran Seaguard really need to shut them down. I'd actually pull back with the spearmen. That's what it looks like what Pacta is going to be doing here, giving his archers more time to pull these guys down. Over on the other flank, some of the Mongols have been spotted here and are starting to get filled with arrows. These guys 30 armor, so particularly squishy to that arrow fire. The Noble as well, just pouncing around as the Illyrian Reavers do start to countercharge those Scurvy Dogs. In the back line, carronades doing a decent job on these Eagleclaw bolt throwers, who need to be firing back at them. It looks like they actually are now. And the zombie pirate gunnery mob handgunners are starting to lay down a few shots into the flanks of the spearmen, who are desperately trying to beat back some Mongols. But these guys, relatively tough in their own right, going to be coming in here and slapping these guys all around. Though some brave Illyrian Reavers do charge in here, but they don't want to stay in that combat for too long. On the other flank, it looks like some more of them are trying to sneak into the back line, but the Nobles should be able to deal with them relatively comfortably, especially when assisted by the Illyrian Reavers. Looks like the second unit of Mongols on this flank is trying to push through, but some brave Lothran Seaguard hold them back, spears held out in front of them, trying to drag down these monstrosities, and they're getting some lovely crossfire by the Lothran Seaguard, although it looks like Antici going to be bouncing between the two combats there. Very nice play overall. Spearmen have managed to force their way onto these bombers, but at a huge cost, about half of their HP here. And over on this flank, it looks like the High Elves are starting to crumble, but the Mongols are at the same time. Scurvy Dogs helping to turn this engagement as the Illyrian Reavers are forced backwards. More Mongols have hopped on top of the Eclaw bolt thrower, but they are going to pay the full ultimate price here, as the Noble swoops down, is going to start pecking at those guys, undead eyes, and pulling them limb from limb. Very close battle so far, probably just about in favour of the coast. They've still got a ton of their long-range troops active with a ton of ammunition as well, and the High Elf advance has slowly been thwarted here and dragged down. But at the same time, the backline looking okay for High Elves. Scurvy Dogs chasing off 2 units of Illyrian Reavers, which is really good value. I don't think the Noble's quite going to have the pace to get back here and rescue those guys, but both bolt throws at the same time are equally active and launching shots, it seems, into those carronades, really trying to bring them down as much as possible. The Cannonculus incredibly healthy at the moment. Looks like a Flame Sword rune has been popped here, allowing these white lines of chase to do a little bit more damage, as well as the Lothran Seaguard as they do fire into Count Noculus. And yeah, very close game so far. Balance power is favouring the coast here, and of course they still have quite a few summons left. Oh no, Illyrian Reavers are allowed to rally in the back here. Anticity taking the Scurvy Dogs back, trying to get a bit hungry and hop on top of these bolt throwers, has allowed the Illyrian Reavers to come back, and they should be able to force off the Scurvy Dogs if they can catch them. But it looks like they might get a free pick before he can get back there. We have some healthy spearmen being moved into the front line, but apart from them, the High Elf forces are starting to dwindle quite heavily here, down to just 400 units, up against nearly 1,000 is some very scary stuff indeed. Nice play by the Illyrian Reavers, forcing back the Scurvy Dogs where possible. Teclis dueling some Mongols now, but they're incredibly beat up, and some spearmen, seeing their liege lord in danger, do start to sprint towards them in glorious unison. They're going to start poking holes in these guys very, very quickly as they all do start to dissipate and go down there. I don't know, the High Elves might have a comeback in it. It is relatively close. If the Bolt Throws can pull down Noculus, which will still take a very long time, but with the help of the Noble, perhaps it is possible. But at the same time, 3 handgunners, plus the deck gunners, who have kind of been left back here in a defensive role, and the carronades, it's going to be tough to drag all these guys down. Liam Reaver's desperately trying to get into the back line, but they have been completely and utterly last samurai here, to quote Turin there, as they desperately try and get in the back line, but completely start to rout. Filled with holes, and even Scurvy Dogs getting in on the action. They've been tired of being chased around the map all day, and come back for a bit of good old vengeance. Noble does manage to get back up in the end. It looks like he's going to be getting a regrowth on him as well, as the backline has slowly been swarmed. Some really nice summons coming in by Intisity, hunting down the Eagleclaw Bolt Thrower crews, but once again, Pact have been really on point by dragging these guys away from their Bolt Throws when needed, falling back, allowing his troops to get back there, regroup and protect them, before coming back to get that good juicy value. This Eagleclaw Bolt Thrower is nearly out of ammunition, however, and there's still a ton of dangerous threats left on the field. If Count Noculus overextends, the Noble perhaps could come in here and get a sneaky kill. It looks like he's going to be hanging out near his handgunners as much as possible, which I think if Intisity does that for the rest of the game, this should be in the bag for him. Let's see, carronades, 44 and 45 kills is certainly no joke, especially when they were also targeting Teclis and the Bolt Throws and so forth. It looks like the Bolt Throw position's been fully overrun here, and there's just simply not enough left to protect them for the forces of the High Elves. They've really been held together here on the hopes of this Noble soaring on his Eagle, constantly trying to do those counter charges, or cycle charges, sorry, into Count Noculus to drag him down, but still nearly 4,000 health on that boy. So many gunners around, I don't think this is possible. Looks like just good luck, have fun in chat, which is always good to see as well. I do value sportsmanship above all things when it comes to having people on the channel and so forth. And it looks like that is going to be 1-all when Tisty does level this best of 3. Man, what a game. What a game. And what a set of games going all the way to the final game here. Very well played by both players. I think Pact just lacked a little bit of punching power, perhaps dropping the Lothran Seaguard and actually going for cheaper and more cheerful archers, and just, you know, for the sheer weight of volume would have been a bit better, and he just couldn't quite get into the back line enough to shut down the cannons and the guns. And the guns, yes, they didn't seem to be doing too much at the start of the battle, being left in reserve by Intisity, but then they slowly moved up as the High Elf forces started to dwindle and unleashed shot after shot and just tore the High Elves apart. GG, well played. Though I still think Norska is nuts at the moment. Good game nonetheless. That is all good. So, let's set up the next map, which is going to be Kelp and Coal Dust. There we go. This will be the final of this first semi-final. So, let's update the scoreboard quickly. Intisity 1-all with Pacta here. What now? It's on the challenge page. Oh, sweet. So Intisity knows. So, yeah. He picks 3 factions. Pacta bans 1 and then picks. Ban 1 and counter. Yep. Beautiful stuff. Make sure I've got no questions in Discord at all from any of the other semi-finalists or anything. No, looks like we're all good and heard. And I will come to you out with you guys. Hope you're doing all good. Sorry that I'm a bit tired today, so my commentary might not be quite as on point as usual. But I only got a couple of hours sleep, so I'm a little bit dying at the moment, unfortunately. What did you guys think of the game, though? What did you guys think? What's up, lumberjacks? Pump wagons! I demand pump wagons! All of the pump wagons! Imrik is pretty cool, to be honest. He's just such a badass overall. What if it's a Gorgon? Oh, Gorgon would be so good. Beastmen versus Wood Elves is my hope, but it's not. It is 90%, 99% not that. Blah, trying to get my words out there, Palpatine. Yeah, I really wish there was more Wood Elf and Beastmen units. It's so easy for Beastmen. They've got so many monsters. You can even just drop a monster pack for them. And Wood Elves have quite a few Lords and so forth left. How's it going, Faust? Hope you're doing all good, buddy. Well played earlier in the tournament as well. Fortunately, I think got taken down by Intisity in a 2-1 series, which seemed to go on for ages, so I'm assuming it was some very close games overall. What's up, Daniel? How's it going, man? What about Pit Fawns? Raptor, I am not listening to you for map suggestions, I'm afraid. It is not happening. I don't think Eagleclaw should target cannons, it should target Noculus, perhaps. perhaps. If he had gone for Noctilus from the start, perhaps he'd been better able to drag him down the late game, but of course he does come with a lot of healing as well. Beastman Wood Elf is the next DLC. The one after, that'd be pretty good. The problem I think EA are having at the moment is how to sell DLCs for DLC factions. So of course, Wood Elves and Beastmen were DLCs themselves, so if you release another DLC, you're basically saying you have to own the first one as well, which is nowhere near as marketable if you are updating base game factions, because everyone will already have them. You can ban again. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. I was busy talking. So Pacta is banning the Dowie and going Dark Elves, so that is going to leave Anticity with Norskans or Dark Elves himself. So he's basically trying to force him to play Norska unless he wants to go for a mirror match. And I am praying to all the gods that we don't have a mirror match here. Paving the way for my other factions. Looks like Anticity trying to use kind of the stereotypes about him to his advantage here. I can't play Dark Elves. Okay, thank you, Anticity, so much. I was looking forward to a Dark Elf mirror. I was not packed there. So it looks like we are having Dark Elves versus Norskans. A really fun matchup. I actually played against... I want to say Park Map the other day. Was it Park Map? In a tournament, and I was Norskans up against his Dark Elves, and my god, it was a great game, but I was so stressed afterwards. They had so much armor-piercing skirmish. I was trying to protect my units where possible, trying to protect those valuables whilst pushing out as well, and it was an absolute nightmare. Let the mind games begin. We will see. Who is your money on, guys? Do you think the mighty and legendary Pacta or the tenacious and vicious Anticity is going to claim victory here? Let's have a mirror. Do I smell some Carapace action? Mirror with subs. If it was a mirror, I could see if I wanted to go sub-faction, but unfortunately it does kind of nuke them a little bit because you can figure out which lords they can't take. Yes, hope you guys are enjoying. We've got tons of people watching. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. Hope you do enjoy. I do all things Total War, plus one or two other games as well, sprinkled in there for good measure. But we're on our way to 500 subs, going quite quickly actually, which is always good to see, so feel free to stick around and all that good stuff. If you want to get involved in tournaments like this in the future, send me replays, or just generally chill out with a load of cool guys, feel free to join my Discord. There should be a link just down in the description below if my brain didn't rot too much and I didn't put it in there. Oh, please. Anticity saying he's gone for an all-wolf build. If he actually... I am assuming it's a bluff, but if that was true, it would be glorious. That is why we need a DLC for Vampire Counts. I believe they did get a DLC already, and some of the factions haven't had any. But yeah, they could certainly do with a little bit of cheering up as well. Although I still think they're very competitive. Looks like they're both ready, and here we go. The ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Who will make it to the finals? Not packed to the Season 4 finals will be delayed for months. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll see a hot Medusa pick. I'm loving it, David the White Lizard. Ever hopeful. I think it's very unlikely in this matchup, but you never know. Packs are known to sometimes mix up and bring some pretty wild stuff. Sometimes going for the more wild stuff does really throw off your opponents. So for one last little quick sip. That's so good. It's like Fentman's Cola. It's like Coca-Cola, but more expensive. But at the same time, it's on another level. So, kind of what I expected, coming in from the force of the Dark Elves, a very mobile-looking force here. So for his front line, which there is basically none of, he has one unit of Dread Spears and then two Black Ark Corsairs with handbows. This is very similar to the build I actually ended up facing. He then comes in with the triple Dark Rider Repeater crossbows, which are such a good unit. Fast-moving, armor-piercing, decent range as well. They can tear down mammoths and so forth very quickly, as well as all the big, nasty monsters the Norskans can bring. We also have some Cold War Knights mixed in with some Dark Riders, so looks like two of each. Oh no, only one Dark Rider, but instead we also have some Slaanesh Harvesters, Regiment of Renowned Doomfire Warlocks, almost always a must pick in Dark Elf forces. They're just so good. Of course, we have the double Scourge Runner Chariot, as predicted here, coming with that long-range armor piercing, and also actually do pretty good work as well as chariots running down lightly armored foes like the Marauders and so forth. They should be able to push through relatively effectively. And up in the skies, we have Malekith with Soul Stealer, which is to be expected. So, really good build overall coming by the Dark Elves, very competitive and going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with, but it looks like Anticity is relatively well prepared. Gone incredibly wide himself here with only 689 troops. It looks like so many more here, so let's dip into this. We have Skin Wolves, we have Ice Wolves, Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, entire front line of cheap and cheerful Marauders, including the Regiment Renowned version, going to be protecting Cav. We also have a load of Wolves and Skin Wolves mixed in there. For his leadership corps, we do have a Familiar Balefiend of Shadows, coming with Pendulum, Enfeebling Foe, and Melkoff's Mystifying Miasma, as well as Wolfric the Wanderer on top of his Mammoth, and a couple of units of Familiar. Looks like some chariots as well. So the battle will commence. It's going to be pretty hard for the Dark Elves to hide here. They're going to get pinned in. You can see Anticity has divided his forces into two groups here, one on this flank and one on this side, and then he's going to be chasing and trying to lure in or trap in the Dark Elves at the back of the map here. But will he take too much damage on the approach? That is going to be the real problem here, as the Marauder Horsemen do start to take a few loads here from the Scourge Runner Chariots. We do have Norseman Ice Wolves pushing up, but Dark Riders can certainly countercharge those guys effectively, and then you take the Cold War Knights to countercharge the Skin Wolves, try and drag them down as quickly as possible. This is going to be a micro-intensive nightmare for both players. Malekith has floated over this side here. There are some good opportunities for Soul Stealers, but at the same time he's fully health, so it wouldn't be the best value. He's trying his best to protect his Dark Riders, and over on the other flank, looks like the Cav forces are actually retreating here from the Skin Wolves. He probably wants to hop in there and try and take them down whilst they're isolated. Red Spears also starting to float over, but Wolfric pushing through, and some Scourge Runner Chariots have certainly been stuck here. These guys do not want to stay in this long engagement. There's a big Pendulum comes down as well as a boat, really tearing up these Cold War Knights. Going to assist these Skin Wolves, who did have a Word of Pain pop to them. A big fat Soul Stealer is coming down from Malekith as well. Assuming he swooped over the side of the battlefield. Oh, he's down here. Oh, that was probably from the Doomfire Warlocks. So over on this side, things going much better for the forces of the Dark Elves. Dark Riders running over Marauders to be expected, and Malekith feasting wherever he goes. So definitely a battle of two halves. Dark Elves taking this left-hand side, Norscan certainly taking this right-hand side. Malekith has taken a bit of damage, so has the Skin Wolves, but as long as they don't get forced off here, they will be able to regenerate that health. All the damage done to Wolfric, though, will add up over time. And these Black Ark Corsairs, I'm afraid to say, are going to be sacrificed to the old and gods and the new here. There is no escape from Wolfric and the Skin Wolves. Chariots need to just rotate around this side and come in where the pocket of strength is for the Dark Elves. Looks like some Marauder Horsemen have been forced off, though, as some Cold War Knights plus the Slash's halves to Doomfire Warlocks have rallied here. If they can beat back these Skin Wolves while the Norscan forces are distracted, that'd be some fantastic value overall. Ooh, looks like a spell was about to go down. I'm assuming a big breath attack from Malekith coming to this big bunch, but it has to travel quite a long way in the end, as the forces of the Beast of Tashnar here did move through this big mass, but it could have been really good. Familiar Warriors very healthy as well, going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Scourge Runner Chariots slowly trying to poke out Wolfric from afar, trying to stack up and do some decent long-range damage overall. But I think the Norscans probably got the better of this initial engagement, but it is certainly not game over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Cold War Knights attempted to fall back with the Slash's Harvesters, who have had the Enfeebling Foe popped on them, but a big fat Soul Stealer did come down, catching a ton of these units there. Malekith, though, having to use it when he's full health, does ensure that he won't get the best value out of it, but at the same time, it was needed to help out in this engagement. He does drop down in, pretty dangerous as there is 2 units of Skin Wolves here, but he should be able to get up in the air and do some effective cycle charging. Down in the back here, we do have some rallying Norscans as well. These units could just turn around and deal with them, but they're needed over here, more importantly. We do still have some Cold War Knights who are relatively healthy, and 1 unit of Scourge Runner Chariots, but these guys are going to have to unload all of their shots basically into Wolfric, who's still rocking a fat 7,900 health, and this range firepower is needed to take him down. Malekith will not win that fight with the Hunter of Champions, of course, in play. Malekith having to fight in the trees here, which certainly isn't going to be doing him any favours, but he is crushing a few of these Skin Wolves and forcing back the Familiar Balefiend of Shadows, who's up to only 9 kills, but some really good spells early on helped break the back of the Dark Elf forces early on. Marauder Chariots hunting down the Dark Riders, but are going to get countercharged here by Dark Riders with shields. Should be able to pin these guys in, slow them down, and slowly pull those Marauders from their chariots. Dark Riders once again fleeing all over the place. Really nice pressure coming from Anticity all across the board. Really impressed so far. He's certainly adapted his game since I played him all those months ago. Was known as a more defensive player, but now coming in with these really aggressive builds and doing some fantastic work. It's always good to have quite a few bows to your, or strings to your bows, sorry. Another Soul Sealer come down. He can't have too many of those left, but doing some really great work on the Skin Wolves and Famir overall. Looks like the Belfiend was also caught. The balance power pretty heavily in favour here of the Norskans. So guys just saying good luck, have fun as to be expected. Dark Riders trying their best. Malekith hopping in for the big old fight here. And I can definitely see a Hunter of Champions come down now. Just double checking Wolfric does have it, and of course he does. It is a must pick. It's just so powerful. Malekith, though, going to be fine to the bitter end here, trying to do cycle charge as much as possible. Might be worth just floating around and taking down all these loose units of Marauders in an attempt to get that balance of power back and get a bit of map control again, as the Dark Riders are slowly getting caught and pinned down, which is obviously not very good at all. As those crossbows are needed to bring down Wolfric, and here comes the Hunter of Champions on top of Malekith, and look at his health just dip every time he takes a big hit, as the Malekith rears onto back legs here and comes in with a thumping strike onto Malekith, who's really starting to struggle here. Fight or Die has been popped as well. Squadron of Chariots desperately trying to protect their Liege Lord, but that is going to be game. What a game. That was pretty intense. There was just far too much pressure across the build. I really liked Intensiti's build overall. Skin Wolves mixed in with the Hounds to chase down troops, and Cheap and Chafing Marauders is always good. But Wolfric as well, still there for the big punch. He just had to be sure he could protect him, which was the risk. But 108 kills certainly proves that risk did pay off. But also very well played to Pacta. Had a fantastic tournament and does bow out in a 2-1 series. Nice build again. This can be a real pain to deal with, but it looks like Intensity was prepared for such a build and managed to hunt down those pesky Dark Elves. I was ready for a Mega Box build. GG, well played. Ton of micro. Can't go Kite on such a map. Yeah, he got pinned in, unfortunately. Wrapped around there. Was pretty scared, but yeah, GG. That's to be expected. You know, you can only be brave when you are scared, so very well played. GG, well played, Pacta. And Anticity, see you in the finals. I outsmarted myself. It's how I got Zyphos. That's pretty funny. Cool, cool. So, Tank and Hadries, we'll just pop you in now, send you a couple of invites. Password is 123. Oh god. Do you guys have the correct names, is the question. There's Tank, and there's Hadries. Ah, perfect. And we're going to resort back to Altdorf Outskirts here. Cool. So the second semi-finals is on the way. Let's update the scoreboard quickly. So that was 2-1 to Anticity there. We'll wait for the boys to jump in so I know which way around to put the scores. Cool, cool. What's up, guys? Trying to kite Norsca rip. Yeah, it can be done, though. The Norskans have quite a lot of light armor, so you can get some really decent cycle charging with the Squadron of Chariots and the Dark Riders, and then you pull down the big units with those armor-piercing missiles. Hey, bro. Looks like Hadries has hopped in first. So just update the scoreboard then. So we have Hadries. Gonna put him down to 0 there. And Tank. Two guys making their debuts on the channel, I believe. I have played Hadries in the past as well as Tank and have been well and truly stomped. These guys are some fantastic players. Okay, Tank. We got Dark Elves and Tomb King set up. Perfect. Good luck, have fun. These guys, professionals here, coming in straight away. Looks like Cages is ready up as well. So straight in, guys. Quick game. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hunters became the hunted. They did indeed, David. A nice little switch around there, unfortunately, for those guys. Cool, and Norscan Chariot. Very cool to see indeed. Haven't seen it in a while. But very cool builds coming by both players. How do we do it, Raptor, with our inhuman luck? I study a lot of Tank gameplay because he's probably the best Vampire Counts player right now. Interesting news coming in there by Poison Duckies. Justin Tank is one of the best, and he is indeed, I can confirm, having watched him in multiple streams before. Haven't studied his game too much, as I'm not a Vampire Counts main myself, but yeah, Tank and Hadri's, two very deadly combatants who, yeah, I think I both faced them in tournaments a while ago, and Hadri's maybe on Quick Battle and got well and truly stomped by Hadri's Tomb Kings, so I know they can certainly be very vicious. I believe Hadri's was honestly probably in the first 5 players I ever played on Quick Battles when I got in. I joined at the, what was the DLC called? The Prophet and the Warlock is when I got the game and kind of hopped into the multiplayer scene. And anyone new who's kind of considering hopping into the game, I know a ton of people like watching these multiplayer videos and so forth, but not so many play. But I highly recommend it. It's quite a high skill gap and a dangerous, curve to hop into, but it's certainly some good fun when you get going. I got a bad build versus counts as Lizardman. That surprisingly works most of the time. I love it. I love it, Raptor. Is this the Croak build that we were talking about earlier? Because that would be beautiful indeed. So here we go, guys. Hadri's with the forces of the Dark Elves. A little bit of lag here, but it looks like it has subsided pretty much straight away, which is perfect. So more Dark Elf action. We have Black Elk Corsairs, it looks like, for a front line, mixed in with a couple of units of the Dread Spears, so really fun, well, just decent side matchup overall. Black Elk Corsairs a little bit more heavy on the damage dealing part. We have, as expected, triple Dark Rider repeater crossbows. These guys are just such fantastic value in pretty much every single matchup. We have a couple of Squadron Runner chariots as well, so pretty similar overall to Pactus build, at least in the skirmishing element, although it doesn't look like there's any Dark Riders to protect them, which could be a little bit dangerous. Of course, though, the Tomb King's not the fastest faction in the world. We have the Chill of Sontar. One absolute hero. Hadri's bringing the bad boy here. Nowhere near as much of a bad pick as people used to think he was, because that regeneration is incredibly powerful, and he's still a terror-causing monster as well, and regeneration get really good value as the game does go on. We also have Malekith up in the skies here with a Soul Stealer and Gaze of Malice and all that good stuff, so a really good build overall, certainly be pushing forward and taking the fight to the Tomb Kings here. I actually really like the Chill of Sontar pick here, because even if he does take damage early on from Ushopti Greatbows, he simply can chill out and heal up. Now for the forces of the Tomb Kings, looks like on this right-hand flank we have Nekakar Horsemen, and it looks like Nekakar Horsemen on the left flank as well, to give him a little bit of added mobility. Apart from that, a relatively defensive build here. So we do have Skeleton Spearmen mixed in with Skeleton Warriors, all dotted along, cheap and cheerful chaff to hold the enemy back, soak up that damage, and allow the rest of the army to really gain that big value. In the centre pocket, we do have Ushopti Greatbows, 2 of them in fact, to put that long-range pressure on, one of them being the Chosen of the Gods. Regiment Renowned version, a little less effective at taking down single entities, but much more effective at taking down blobs of infantry. In the back line, we have the Eyes of the Desert, the Regiment of Renowned Sneaky Snakes, one of my new favourite units as far as Tomb Kings goes. These guys can pop on, they're anti-large, they take down light cav, and to be honest, pretty much all the cav actually, that the Dark Elves can bring, and help protect the back line very effectively. We have a Casket of Souls to drop those fat DJ builds on those tightly packed Dark Elf formations. A Tomb Prince who's going to be working as a bodyguard here for Arkan the Black, coming in with Purple Sun and Spirit Leech, which is going to be pretty powerful. I really want to see the Purple Sun that go off. So in comes the Casket of Skulls. Or Souls, sorry, going to be firing a few shots and missing a little bit there. But still, warning shot is certainly sending a message right now. As the Ushopti Greatbows do start to target the Scourge Runner chariots, which is a decent pick. You want to get these guys off as quickly as possible, as their long-range armor-piercing shots will do great work up against the Ushopti if they can get close enough. Looks like the Dark Riders are going to be swarming forward here. Arkan the Black riding out to meet them like the great Gandalf the White, driving forth the forces to scare off the nasty Nazguls. He's going to be moving forward and taking a load of shots for his effort, but he does manage to pop up some Skeleton Warriors and some Nekakar Horsemen charge in there as well. Really nice play trying to destroy these Dark Riders before they can really get going, but the Horsemen certainly want to fall back now. They've done some great damage, but the Hydra is certainly not to be messed with. But oh, lovely shot coming in by the Casket of Souls. With all these troops bunched up on top of the summoned Skeleton Warriors, that Casket is going to get some fantastic value. But Hadri's punching straight back with the Dark Riders, now getting some really nice Overwatch fight onto the Ushopti, as the Chill of Sontar launches itself into glorious combat. But it's going to get countercharged effectively immediately by the Eyes of the Desert, and they will love this target trying to drag down this monstrous beast. The rest of the Dark Elf forces do start to engage Skeleton Warriors, and they should be able to clean them up relatively quickly. Nekakar Horsemen do unfortunately go into the dust, but they did their job. They drove back the Dark Riders, and it did great damage across the board. Also enforced Malekith into dangerous quarters, and now he's been absolutely laced with Ushopti Greatbow fire down to half health. He's going to need to come in here and pop some fat Soul Sealers as quickly as possible. So really nice early engagement by the Tomb Kings, but now the battle is going to get particularly messy, as we do have a fat Soul Sealer coming in, only catching Ark in the black there, though, unfortunately. It's going to be healing up Malekith quite a lot, but in dangerous territory right here, taking so many Ushopti bows to the face. The Scorcher on Chariots need to get back here and put pressure on these guys immediately, otherwise their Lord is going to be going down. Shield of Sontar doing its best here, holding back a ton of Skeleton Warriors, but a Tomb Prince is now upon him, and the Tomb Kings are very dominant in the early stages here. Malekith barely going to be able to escape this. If he's lucky, he does probably stand your ground as he pushes in a desperate attempt to pull down the Ushopti. As for the rest of the battle, over on the far side, we do have Nekka Horseman being dragged down by Spearmen, which is a nice play by Hadri's, and the Scorcher and Chariots are forcing their way into the back line, finally starting to shut it down, but down goes Malekith, just beaten to death, unfortunately, by Ushopti with great bows and a really clutch summon as well. And there is no way back in this for the Dark Elves, in my opinion. The Chill of Sontar slowly being forced off. This is going to allow the Tomb Kings to restore their back line. You can see a nice Spirit Leech going down on the Scourger and Chariots, which is actually quite a nice use of the Spirit Leech. You don't see too often. People tend to just drop it on characters. And the Forts of Dark Elves, a little bit bunched up here, and yes, the Dark Brides can do a ton of long-range damage. They're bunched up, again, whacked by the Casket of Souls, which is up to 78 kills, which is very impressive. And I think these guys, unfortunately, are going to have to fall back to Nagaroth and rethink their strategy. Scourger and Chariots have now all been dealt with. Looks like they are being forced off and continually be chased off by Ushopti. They might be able to get enough distance before they reach the edge of the map, but the balance of power very close to army losses here. And that is going to be game! What a game there. Really masterful play coming in by Tank and protecting those Ushopti. I didn't think they would do quite so much damage against Malekith, but he got caught down on the ground where he's a little bit harder to dodge, a little bit less maneuverable, and he just got annihilated. That is going to be an early game 1 to Tank here. GG. So let's switch the map now to Valley of Thieves. And there we go. What a game. What did you guys think of that? That was pretty insane. Masterful play coming by Tank. And I mean, Hades, honestly, I actually quite enjoyed his build, and he certainly had the potential, but he took some damage early on, which forced his hand to get really aggressive, which fell into, you know, Tank's hands. He had the Sneaky Snakes ready to countercharge that Hydra as well. Casket OP! Casket OP! You're damn right, Sarmation. It is confirmed. At long last, it has been confirmed. From the man, the myth, the legend, Sarmation himself. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Sarmation, for those who don't know, an OG in the Total War community, an absolute champ. Also one of the first players I ever played on ladder. I believe it got picked apart by some Wood Elves, but it was a good fun game nonetheless. Yep, GG's all round. Malekith going to die, indeed. What's up, Park Map? Hello there. You really like the fact the Stalkers are becoming so popular. Indeed, they've the White Lizard. I don't know why they weren't popular to begin with, but they are a very, very powerful unit overall. I love the fact, I mean, any anti-large unit which can use Stalk is fantastic for backline protection. For Skaven, for example, I love the Ishin Triads. They're one of my favourite units, and I don't think enough people take them. Simply pop them behind some Warplock Giselles. Also have a unit of Rat Ogres. In come the Knights or the big flies to get in. They think it's just the Rat Ogres to deal with, and then bam, Ishin Triads pop up. They use their Weeping Blades, they sunder your armour and all that good stuff, and they slowly pick you down. So it looks like Tank is picking Vampire Counts here, Bannon, Lizardmen, and High Elves. Oh no, we have Vampire Ghost versus Vampire Counts, the battle of the slow-off here, as these two guys do slowly try and drag each other down, but should be fun nonetheless. Valley of Thieves, very open map again, so as we saw previously, Vampire Counts can do some fantastic work here. Or Vampire Pirates, sorry. Should be some good fun. Malekith took so much fire from both Stalkers and Ushopti indeed. Stalkers are such good anti-air. I agree, Poison Ducky. I'm known for my wacky builds that sometimes even work. See, that's why Sarmation is my god to look up to. Bring the weird stuff. It's like one of my favourite players to watch, kind of developed over time as I've just watched different streams and had people on my channel, is Flying Taco, because he brings insane builds that just work. Him and Exploding Hamster honestly have some mind-boggling stuff which somehow work. You look at it and you're like, well, he's about to get absolutely dumpstered, and then he turns around, does a full 360 and slam dunks your head into the dirt, basically. Which is always good. Yes, hope you guys are enjoying this. Is of course the first qualifier, the first round of Season 4 of Death Before Dishonour. We will have another free after this as well, so hope to see you guys in there as well. Should be some good fun. And then the 4 champions will come together for a grand finals. The previous winners are Zach B. Sane, winning Season 1 way back in the day. It feels like such a long time ago now. It was some really good fun. We then had Chosen One win Season 2, and King of the Dead win Season 3. And poor Flying Taco actually the finalist in 2 of those, but unfortunately got dragged down. Ready when you are by Tank. All good to see. Battle of the Undead, indeed. I'll be back in literally half a second, guys. Just going to turn my light on. It's getting a little bit dark here in England. There we go. Back. And yeah, hope you guys do like this format, allowing us to have a few more players in. So half the format's going to be done like this, and half is going to be the standard, just 4 people entering, because some people don't have the time to play all day, and they can only play evening. So I think it's fair to mix up and change it around a little bit. Black Coach carries this matchup. That is from Poison Ducky, who is not only a Vampire Count main, is also a YouTuber as well. You should definitely go check out his stuff. Very awesome dude, super nice guy all round. And puts up some really nice replays. I was actually watching one of his earlier today while I was waiting for you guys to finish all your games. It's a bit weird, honestly. It's my first time using the challenge system, or challenge, whatever it's called. And I was trying to work it out as I went along, but it seemed to go pretty smoothly. Hope you guys just don't mind the waiting around. But yes, if you're enjoying what you see, please do consider giving this a big old thumbs up. Super helps out the channel, honestly. Like, so much. It really pushes videos out there, especially for a growing channel like my own, and lets more people see it. But yes, very, very thankful for all your support. I don't often play this matchup because I don't really play any of the Undead factions, just thematically. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I'd say I'm a Lizard Man main, and my next couple of factions would probably be Wood Elves. Although that's really situational, but I can play quite a few simply because the advantage casting gives me. So the downside is I don't get to play as much as I'd like, because a lot of my free time I'm casting games, hosting tournaments and so forth, which I still really enjoy. But the plus side is I'm casting games and tournaments, and I get to learn about all the different factions in quite a decent amount of depth. So I can play a relatively wide range of forces, quite like Norskins, Greenskins, High Elves, Wood Elves, Lizard Men, ton of different factions, good old Dowie as well, so I'm a little bit versatile when it comes to tournament play, which is always good as well. Nice to mix it up. So can Hadri's bring this match back, or will Tank... Sorry guys, I'm super tired, I cannot speak today. Or can Tank book his spot in the finals up against Anticity, who is a really great player, honestly. He's improved so much from when he burst onto the scene, and he was already good then, and I think he's been winning quite a lot of events recently, so he's certainly one to look out for. Why all the violent duck metaphors in people's names? Oh, Poison Ducky and Ducky War, that's true. There's also Walking Duck and Agony Duck, I think, or Waking Duck and Agony Duck in the community, which is quite funny. It's because ducks are evil, man. Trust me, over here in Britain, I don't know where you're from, man. Ducks will go to town to you, man. They go toe to toe. They're not scared of anything. If you've got bread, that duck is getting the bread. So, anyway, without further ado, let's hop into this battle. So, for the forces of Hadri's trying to make a comeback here, we do have the mighty and legendary Luther Harkin, a fantastically cool character in lore and in game. And look at his beautiful model for this Undead Terrorgeist as well. Coming in with all his usual buffs, I'll get in here and just double check what they're called. Hornswaggle, we have his Breath, and Power Siphon as well. Down low, we do have a Vampire Fleet, Captain of Vampires as well, coming with Raised Dead, Invocation of Heck, and all that good stuff. And for the main line, cheap and cheerful polearms, which are really good value for money, decent AP overall, and can hold back the enemy while the rest of your army does the damage. We also have the Tide as well to help hold back, and then double bombers. So we spoke briefly about bombers in the previous matchup with Anticity, and these guys can do some fantastic damage when they launch their shots up and over top of these polearms. And actually, up against the Counts, I really like this pick. Counts relatively slow, don't have too many tools to take these guys down apart from bats and a few knights, which is, knights are going to be very risky in this pick. We have triple deck droppers as well. Haven't seen these guys for absolutely months. It's a bit interesting to see how they do. They did get nerfed way back in the day as they were completely overpowered, but it'll be interesting to see how they perform. We have one carronade as well as some deck gunners, and it looks like a very solid build overall, taking a defensive formation. We also have some hand gunners as well, trying to take the high ground, knowing that the Counts are going to have to push forward. Now, for the forces of Tanker, and the Undead trying to get this a quick 2-0 and book his place in the finals, with a front line of Skeleton Spearmen and Skeleton Warriors dotted all along, with a couple of zombies in there for good measure as well. It's going incredibly wide, backed up by Crypt Horrors, which is a tactic I've seen quite a lot recently, and it's this, the classic tactic with the Croc Scores, the Skinks, Crypt Horrors, Skeleton Warriors, Trolls, Goblins. It's all the same thing. You get your big hitters, you put them on top of your squishy, not squishy, but your units who are just there to hold and soak up the damage, while these guys deal the damage, and it's a tried and true tested combination which has worked throughout the ages, which is beautiful. We do have a black coach, so Poison Ducky here, obviously whispering into Tank's ears words of wisdom here. We bring in the black coach, which is a really cool model and certainly can do some decent work. Fellbats up in the sky, going to be very effective at chasing down those deck droppers. We also have a Blood Dragon Vampire Lord as well. Should be good fun. Really cool build. Looks like we have a couple of Banshees, and over on this left-hand flank, Black Knights as well, trying to sneak into that back line, which is a really good pick. Blood Knights quite expensive and can be taken up by cannons and so forth. Some early shots are starting to rain in, focusing down at the Crypt Horrors, which is a perfect pick. This guy's already lost the model. As you can see, that poor little Crypt Horror does laid face down in the dust. Nice defensive formation though. It's going to be tough to crack, and Count's got to be a little bit careful here. They want to wrap around and try and put pressure on from all angles at one time, or you need to go for the slow grind game. But I don't think the slow grind game is going to be too much of an option, simply because of the amount of damage these bombers will be able to do. So Luther Harkin is going to be hunting down this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord where possible. It looks like the deck droppers as well, starting to focus down the Black Knights, doing some pretty good damage actually straight out the bat. Putting a couple of these undead warriors from their horses here. Fellbats need to go over here and put a bit of pressure on, although the hangars are relatively close as well. Looks like we actually have 3 units of those guys. Luther Harkin getting a little bit too dangerous close there for the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. Did drop a power siphon on him, however. Fellbats are nearby as well to protect. A nice summon coming down. The zombie pirate gunnery mob's going to be trying to force back the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, getting a few good volleys in there as well. Tank taking a tiny little while to react to them, which of course is understandable. Black Coach contemplating charging in here, but not going to be the most useful going in up against a summoned unit, but still will be able to push through and get some pretty good damage. You can already see up to 17 kills instantly. A lovely breath attack coming on top of these handguns, getting some fantastic value, as in the back line, the Black Knights do hop on top of the carronade, but it's been very well protected by a wall of zombies here, and they're not letting them anywhere near that crew. That's pretty funny, actually, the wall of zombies, just holding back these elite Black Knights, who are going to be getting forced off now and crumbling into dust. Up in the skies, the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord attempting to hunt down Luther Harkin, but Hornswaggler has been popped to him, as well as his own buffs. But Luther Harkin certainly going to be favoured in this matchup, although a Helm of Discord attempting to counter that where possible. But there is a ton of gunfire which can be laced upwards, filling this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord with holes, and he's having to fall back, popping down an invocation of Mahek, as more zombies are summoned to the cause. Banshees hopping into the back line here, as the Black Coach up to 40 kills as well, doing a decent job. These bombers need to be shut down. Look how much damage they're doing to the Skeleton Warriors in the front line. Black Coach, though, is reaving through the back lines, getting some fantastic value. At the same time, is being hunted by Luther Harkin, who is one of the good counters for him there. Looks like Crypt Horrors need to start getting moving forward here just a little bit. Need to push it and try and get into that back line, although I understand leaving them in reserve because there are so many gunners which can take them down at the moment. Deck droppers are starting to move forward, engaging with the Fellbats, imagine to fend them off where possible. Looks like those Black Knights managed to rally in the back line. They need to get moving again and hop back on top of the carronade, try and force it down, or weave their way elegantly on top of these zombie pirate gunnery mobs. Double Banshees, really nice pick here actually, hunting down the Vampire Fleet Admiral. They do decent AP overall. Some zombies need to try and pin those guys in because they are doing really good work actually. This Fleet Captain of course is the only source of magic as well. Luther Harkin does not have access. And in come the Black Knights hammering in, trying to take that carronade offline, sacrifice themselves for the greater good. But in comes Luther Harkin to do a nice counter charge here. More summon in the back as well, desperately trying to protect this Vampire Fleet Captain, but she's taken a ton of damage here, down to 520 health, minus 39 leadership, but she should be able to stabilise in the relatively protected area here. Black Knights could pull out and charge into her, but at the same time they're doing a great job shutting down the gunnery mobs. In come the Crypt Horrors now as well. They can hop on top of these bombers and push through that front line, which would be some nice work. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord doing a beautiful breath attack once again down the line. He's doing it perfectly down the flanks, as you would expect from a level of player of Tank's ability. Does need to get some more healing up on him though. Up in the skies, deck droppers did stand a little bit too long with the Fellbats and are slowly being pulled back here. Very close game here. Vampire Fleet Captain though is going to go down here. Does not have enough to rally, which is super unfortunate. Unless she can pop a last clutch invocation of the heck. Just going to get rid of all the healing, and with her going down here, is she going to stabilise? No, minus 24. There's no hope. With her going down, I think the balance of power is certainly going to favour the counts here, and I don't see there's been much way back in for them. Luthor perhaps could be able to snipe the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, but I think Tank's going to play it very defensively, pull him back and away from the main engagement, as his counts forces do start to overwhelm the back line here. You can see Bombers engaged in combat, the sub-unit incredibly beats up, and both the Banshees incredibly healthy as well. Black Coach has been doing some fantastic work, putting consistent pressure on the post, but Luthor finally starting to drag that guy down. Up to 138 kills is pretty absurd. Very nice play overall so far, but unfortunately takes a big chunk in the back. Still 1,400 health, so you never know, maybe it can get out of there in time. But droppers as well have started to rally and come back into the set. Those guys just saying good luck, have fun. I never know why that pops up halfway through the battle instead of at the start. In the front lines, Poloms are winning some engagements, and they're even up against Cryptolons here, which is not too bad of a target. The Bombers are being overwhelmed as well, as these horribly disgusting brutes fling these poor zombies left, right and centre. But I think this is going to be game over, as another Helm of Discord is about to come in. I assume Heart Piercer does come in, doing some pretty good damage overall, and Helm of Discord is popped, and that's going to seal the doom, because all of these units are going to get debuffed here. Luthor trying his best to hunt down the Black Coach where possible. Great play by Hadri's, really trying to stick to his guns and drag this game back, and there's still a chance Luthor perhaps finishing off the Black Coach with a nice breath attack here, coming in and decimating that there. Beautiful play. And perhaps go toe-to-toe with the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, but he's held up very carefully here with Invocation the Hex, and I think it's going to be a little bit too late. But yes, well, let's take a little look. Is there anything that can come back? We have one unit of Skeleton Spin from Tank over here, just chilling out. They can come in and saturate on top of some of these units, but I think army losses are going to set in as soon as Luthor takes a little bit of damage, as the rest of his forces are basically getting decimated. It is Luthor versus the world. I'm sure his mad genius brain can come up with something, but probably not in time. Power Siphon, Hornswag will come down as well. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord can be taking a huge amount of unnecessary damage here. Luthor just doing his best, trying to take him down, but the foot forces certainly going in the favour of the count. And once these guys are all wrapped up as well, Luthor will have to engage them on the ground. And really nice play here. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to be dipping down into combat, so if Luthor wants to get engaged, he's going to have to drop down and also fight these double Banshees, which is not where he wants to be. Spearmen are starting to wander over to the main battle now. We have some polar mobs here, and the tide almost gone down as well, and that is it. Dance Macabre has been popped on the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, giving him an extra 24 melee attack and speed, but speed's not really a factor here. As Luthor trying his best, he's been a pretty fantastic duelist, up to 50 kills as well, trying to carry this game on his back. But as you can see, a load of forces bats there dropping dead, his protection's gone, the balance power is so heavily against him, I don't think there's much hope here. We have this one unit of zombie pirate deckhand mobs, desperately trying to get back, but flying units alone can't hold their ground. Luthor is going to have to drop in a second. You can see his leadership deteriorating here. He's disintegrating, he's drained, and that is going to be game. Very well played by Tank there. Pretty damn impressive. Look at these poor fellows. This poor fellow, he's trying his best. He's outmatched in size and unfortunately outmatched in skill. And down he goes, falling to the ground there. What's up, Aristo? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're all good in the herd. Oh, Ice Cubs, nice to see you as well, man, if I've seen you around before. But yeah, anyway, very fun game overall, very well played to both players. That Black Coach, 150 kills, was getting pretty nicely harassed all game by Luthor, but it still managed to rack up a decent amount of damage and distract that back line as much as possible, while the rest of his forces pushed in and got some really good work. Nice early play by Hadri's, driving off one unit of Black Knights, but unfortunately couldn't quite destroy them, and they came back in at the end there and did some decent damage. The other unit, 166 kills, but the double Banshee with the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is a very powerful combo. If the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord ever gets in danger, he simply swoops down and gets protected by the Banshees, but very well played. If you go all, best of luck in the final. See you around. GG's, guys. Gave some ideas. Nice. Good, fun play by those guys. GG, well played. So I will get Inticity back in here and sort the scoreboard. And these guys do not know what the maps are going to be, and neither do I. I need to come up with them. And I'll come chat with you guys in a second. Just going to update the scoreboard. So that was 2-0 to Tank there. We are going to get Inticity in here. And move tank down to 0 points there. And this is a best of 5 finals, which should be pretty exciting stuff. And here he is. Hey, man. Hey, man. Same pick and ban system. Gonna need 2 minutes. Okay, that's fine. I can come chat with you guys. And we are going to be playing the first map, of course, Troll Country. Of course. It is tradition. Let's see what you guys were saying. I heard Hadrius is crushing the brackets. Hadrius did very good, man. He was a very impressive old tournament, but unfortunately did get dragged down there by Tank, who is an absolute beast. As his name suggests, is an absolute machine of war, doing fantastic. 2-1 fantastic. Yeah, Faustman, I'd love to see those games, and if you have the replays, feel free to send them to me if any of the games are very good. Sounds like some high-quality games. Confirmed, got crushed by Hadrius. It happens, part map. It happens. But yes, looks like just a load of GGs in chat. Nice to see. Or which other factions had generic lords like vampire counts? A few of them do. Wood Elves have very good generic lords. But yeah, I would like to see a few more generic lords. The best lord one, indeed. But to have so many unique generic lords. Okay, Pactor, you know, I agree. I think more variety would be really nice amongst the lords. Which is always good. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. It's been a blast. We're going to the finals there. Sweet, sweet. Fantastic. It's going to take 2 minutes, which is fine. If you have any questions, now is the perfect time to ask them. Any theories on what the DLC little snippet was about? I'm expecting a trailer tomorrow. And I demand it to be Wood Elves, even though I know it's 99.999% going to be High Elves Greenskins. But Wood Elves need some love too. We're also probably going to be having a stream tomorrow, by the way. If my voice holds up and I get enough sleep, we will hopefully be doing a clan civil war, because a few of the players wanted to have some games against each other. Thought might as well stream it here on the channel. Durfu is close. Orion is a bit weaker. Did you just say Orion is a bit weaker than someone? Summation, that is heresy. I'll have you know. Orion, OP, greatest character in the game. If not, Aristodemus will hunt you down. Anticity is back. He will go Dark Elves, ban Wood Elves, and Coast. Really nice bans there, to be honest. I don't really do the Dark Elf Coast matchup too much, but Wood Elves counter Dark Elves so nicely. So well. Let's see what Tank does pick. I don't know if these guys have a history of playing each other or not, if they're used to each other's styles, or if they're going into this completely blind. Been waiting since game 1 for Beastman to have a great Shaman or a Doomball. Yes, Zutron, yes. For those who don't know, by the way, Zutron is Geese Howard as well in the community, who you may have heard of before. Really good player overall, and a fellow clanmate. He's a cool dude. But yeah, Doomball, they need to bring in, is it Torax, the brass ball? Probably completely butchered the pronunciation of his name there. But a very badass character, who actually ate a demon hole who was sent to him to give him a blessing, I believe, in the first place. So he still got the blessing, he got his whole body covered in brass, but because he ate the demon, the herald, for his kind of hubris, I suppose, he was given one weak spot just underneath his neck, or on his neck under his chin somewhere, where he could be one-shotted, and it was very interesting in tabletop. I don't know how they would implement that into the game. Tank is going Tomb Kings. Very good undead player all round, it seems. My sweet summer child, I am the greatest of Orion's fanboy. Mate, you and Aristo can have an argument over that to see who is the biggest fan. I love Orion myself, he's very cool indeed. Super cool dude. You may be interested to know as well, being such a Wood Elf fan, I'm actually, very slowly, because I've got a lot on at the moment, but developing my own Warhammer game on the gaming platform Dreams, and it is set in Athelloren. So there's certainly going to be a lot of Wood Elf stuff. I've basically just been learning the basics at the moment because I've got quite a lot on with editing the book and stuff, so I haven't got my teeth fully sunk into it, but soon when I send off my first manuscript to kind of get proofread and all that kind of stuff, I'll sink my teeth into that and hopefully show you guys some progress on the channel as well. But yes, Orion's awesome. He's just such a G. Wild Riders as well, the whole concept of it's very cool. Now this matchup is one we did just see. It's going to be interesting to see if Tank does mix it up a little bit, or if he goes for a very similar tried and tested build here. And I don't know why we're doing this matchup. Again, not two factions that I play terribly often. I play both the other elf factions a lot more than the Dark Elves, and the factions I struggle going up against the most is probably the Dark Elves and Vampirates, and maybe even Tomb Kings as well. Those three factions are quite tough to deal with. The sheer amount of volume of power that comes at you from the Dark Elves can be really tough to manage. I think the skirmish game is incredibly key for beating them with most factions, of course. Tomb King's not the fastest, can't necessarily win the skirmish game by going toe-to-toe with the Dark Elves, but can outshoot them and pull them apart in other ways. Sounds interesting, didn't you? You were a writer. I am indeed. I did a creative writing masters at uni for my final year. I did acting up until that point, so up till BA Honours, and then did writing with the idea that I could write my own scripts if I couldn't get acting work, basically. But I ended up actually really falling in love with writing fiction instead of scripts. So I have a little sci-fi collection of short stories, which I'm currently editing. So I left it like a month after I finished writing it before editing it, and I'm actually enjoying reading it, which is rare that you enjoy your own work. So hopefully that's a good sign. Perhaps I'm just overindulging in my own stuff, but we will see. I'll keep you guys updated anyway on the channel if people are interested in that type of thing. Or in the Discords, at least. But yeah, it should be good fun. Good luck, have fun. Nice, nice. Looks like Tank is ready. Just waiting on the Mighty Intensity. But yeah, the book's only... It's like a novella, to be honest. It's going to be about 80 pages long. At least first draft. Good, enjoyable matchup, this one. Nice. Should be some good fun. I think it's going to be a lot of tit for tat. A lot of the Dark Elves trying to poke left, right, and centre and try and really kind of pluck away at those more hardcore units of the Tomb Kings. At the same time, the front line, the Dark Elves can certainly ramp it up and tear them apart if they want to, with Witch Elves and some of the more elite forces. Or, you know, you can hold them back with Dread Spears and Bleak Swords, and then do your damage in the skirmish phase with Dark Riders and all that good stuff. Squadron Chariots, you know. You know. But yeah, we're certainly trying to get Force on the channel as well, actually, because I've done some great games up against him before, I think, on Turin's King of the Hill. And he definitely knocked me out of a tournament as well. I think it might have been an ECL at one point with some really fun games. So we'll definitely have to try and get you up on the channel, man. Showing off your skills. Looking forward to the inevitable VC versus VP as well. I hope Dowie make an appearance. Both of them played them, yes. Looks like they're all good. Let's get this cracking. Nice quick game so far, as in both the players hopping in quite quickly. Not too many delays during the downtime. Of course, this tournament, though, has been going on since 4:30. These guys having to work their way through the round, so big shout out to them as well for their endurance. Can be quite taxing. I feel like when you win games, though, it does give you a bit of a boost of energy and focus. Free bolt throws. That could work. Bolt throws notoriously good up against your Shopty Great Bows. But this is a relatively small map, which is going to be tough for the Dark Elves to kind of play that skirmish game. So yeah, bolt throws could be seen. Any suggestions for fun competitive maps, please do let me know as well. I will not trust certain people, though, who I know gives me terrible maps. We'll see. We're probably playing River Max on at some point as well. So, for the Forces of Inticity and the Dark Elves here, making his debut on the... Oh no, second debut on the channel. He actually played in a doubles King of the Hill, which was good fun. Is bringing 2 Reaper Bolt Throws here. Can be doing some decent long-range firepower. So not quite the triple, but the double, not bad at all. So I just reminded myself of the old baby a triple meme that went around for ages when I was younger. So for the front line, cheap and cheerful Bleak Swords mixed in with a few Dread Spears. Bleak Swords pretty good in this matchup. They will tear apart Skeleton Warriors very quickly. We have Dark Shards. You don't get to see too often, simply due to the sheer volume of fast-moving skirmishers they can bring. So we do actually have Dark Shards of Shields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of these guys, and they have one of the most badass poses in the game, rising their shields high and then leaning the crossbows on top. It just looks so good. We have some Witch Elves in the back as well for a bit of backline protection, as well as some Cold One Knights. And yeah, that looks like pretty much it for the build. Pretty simple. Hack apart the front line with Bleak Swords, hold them with the Dread Spears, and sheer volume of firepower to take down the enemy. Marathi up in the sky as well, coming in with the expected spells and all that good stuff. So for the Forces of Tank and the Tomb Kings, double Sneaky Snakes at this time. Looks like they're dying around. We have 2 carrying up in the skies for a bit of backline harass. Some Nekakar Horsemen. And then for the main box of his force, we have Skeleton Spearmen and some Skeleton Warriors just to hold back the enemy as long as possible. W Shopty Great Bow like previously, doing that long range firepower. And double Sneaky Snakes this time, including the Regiment Round 1 once again. And the Casket of Souls, confirmed OP in chat earlier, so I certainly expect this guy to carry the game. We have Ark and the Black as well, but no Tomb Prince to guard him, which can be a little bit dangerous. However, he only really has to contend with Marathi sniping him instead of Malekith, which will help him a little bit. Plus he has the snakes for bodyguards regardless. And up in the back line we do have more carrying. So pretty fun overall. Good luck, have fun to the guys. It's always great to see good sportsmanship. It is what I value most, and people are always welcome back, you know, who are easy to get on with and are nice to each other. It makes it so easy, but thankfully I don't think I've ever really had any problems. Total War community is really top notch, above pretty much any other game I've ever heard of, but I'm sure there's others out there which are great as well. Chosen the Gods moving forwards with the Ushopti here. Going to be trying to go tit for tat with the Reaper Bolt Throws, perhaps. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to win it. Up in the skies, Karen going to get hunted down by Marathi if they're not careful here. Of course, Tanks Micro elsewhere at the moment, trying to force forward his main troops. It looks like these guys have been engaged overall. Ark and the Black moving forward here, probably going to be dropping a Skeleton Summon I'd expect down on the Dark Shards. Carrion coming in as well. Looks like Ushopti trying to pick on the Dark Shards and using the Carrion to harass the Reaper Bolt Throwers. They are being completely stranded and will get deleted, but at least it does shut down the Bolt Throwers for a decent amount of time. Carrion can no longer escape as they have been made out of control by those Witch Elves. More shots coming in by those fat beats of the Casket of Souls, doing some fantastic damage to the back lines as the Skeleton Warriors push in trying to hunt them down. And the front line is going to get underway very soon. Chosen the Gods taking a huge amount of firepower now. Those bolt throws targeting them down as well as two Dark Shards up in the air. Looks like those carrying are being forced down by Marathi, although they've done okay damage back actually. I'm relatively surprised there. The Kekar Horseman unfortunately being caught here, just standing still, but looks like Tank just about notices in time and does pull them back. Really nice micro over there. It's much easier to catch stuff by watching than it is in game, trust me. It's a stressful game sometimes. Tons of micro by both players. Looks like your Ushopti Great Bows are actually in combat here. They're in guard mode, so they're still shooting, desperately trying to get as much value as possible. I'd recommend pulling them back and moving forward with those Skeleton Spearmen. Looks like we do have the Liber Mortis coming down with such a fantastic ability. Plus 44% physical resistance really helps your troops hold in there. With a ton of Spearmen in reserve as well, protecting the Casket of Souls, up to 20 kills. Although the Chosen God's been absolutely deleted now. These Dark Shards getting great value, but oh my god! Casket of Souls nuking these guys down to about half health per volley. It's very powerful indeed. Ark and Black still full health as well. Sneaky Snakes probably want to fall back as well, otherwise they're going to start to be the focus of attention and focused down by these Dark Shards. So those guys are going to start pushing through though, trying to get into that back line. I feel like the Dark Elves have certainly got the better of the engagement so far. Still Ushopti in the back lines here as well. And a ton of the Dark Elf forces have taken a lot of damage, but they are slowly pushing their way through the front line. And there's still a ton of crossbows active as well as both boat throwers. In the back lines though, great play by Tank. He manages to slip past these Cold War Knights, at least briefly, and hop on top of the Reaper Bolt Thrower crew, doing some massive damage straight out the gate. But these guys don't want to stick around here too much. They're getting charged in the rear by Cold Ones, plus Dark Shards firing in. Ushopti are summoned in the back line as well to try and pull apart the Reaper Bolt Thrower crew, and they will do that very quickly. Those guys need to drop their crew, drop the Bolt Throwers and leg it for the hills. But these Dark Shards, even though they're taking a massive beating, are starting to rack up a decent amount of value. It's so close to cool. This is really close. Hiding in the trees, Ark and the Black protected by his Sneaky Snakes. Dark Elves are starting to push through, but maybe the Tomb Kings are winning the front line. It's incredibly close all the way along. Witch Elves are certainly going to rack up some huge kills if left unimpeded. In the back line, Bleak Swords have managed to put pressure on top of the Casket of Souls. Skeleton Spearmen will be able to hold it back for a decent amount of time, but they will not win that engagement. Casket of Souls up to double chevron now on 117 kills. Beautiful pick so far. Sneaky Snakes trying to find a home, but it's pretty tough. The best target for them would be these Cold War Knights, but they're all in this distance here. Looks like these Ushopti got some fantastic value, not only scared off some Reaper Bolt Throwers, in fact, perhaps destroyed them completely, and this one was forced off as well, but also doing great damage to the Cold War Knights who have rampage, but unfortunately these guys are disappearing into the Shadow Realm, but really nice value overall on that summon. And this is an incredibly close game. I just don't think the Tomb Kings have enough stopping power left, because they need to keep the Casket active. It needs to tear apart the Dark Shards as much as possible, but even if they do pull them down, what's going to stop the Witch Elves and Marathi in these forces? Snake's getting torn apart here by a combination of magic and archer fire, and Ark and the Black's not the type of character to carry a game on his back. And I feel like the Dark Elves might have this one. I think Intensity is going to take this first game, but I've said that multiple times before while casting and being proven wrong. Caster Souls is on an absolute tear today. 154 kills is insane, but it's simply not enough. There's just far too many Dark Elves dotted around. Marathi is a little bit beaten up, so perhaps Arkan can do some stuff with the help of the Eyes of the Desert, but I feel the balance of power is as even as it is simply because Arkan is full health and Marathi isn't. A lovely shot coming on top of those Witch Elves though, dragging them down here, but the Casket still got a relatively healthy amount of ammunition, but Bleak Swords are now pushing in, and these Skeleton Spearmen are going to be incredibly pressed here to have to hold that line defensively. Casket Souls even having to be dragged into combat. Looks like the Eyes of the Desert might fall back here to try and help out. Marathi also been hit by a Spirit Leech here. We do have a nasty spell coming down here. I'm assuming that is the wand coming down on top of these Skeleton Spearmen. It does come up from the sky. It's going to be doing some decent damage and help finishing these guys off. And yeah, the Dark Elves heavily battered all across the army, but there is simply nothing left for the Tomb Kings there. A nice Skeleton Summon does come down though, but instantly loses all of its morale. Going to be trying to hold back the Dreaded Spears where possible. Ark in the back, desperately trying to escape there. Unfortunately just got caught by the Soul Stealer. Unlucky, nice micro, but not quite enough. Down here though, Bleak Sword slowly being pushed back. Arkan back coming down here as well as Marathi jumps into glorious combat. Arkan needs the luck of the dice gods here to be whacking that lady where he can. She does start to fall back. A Spirit Leech popped on her as well. If he can drag down Marathi here, this would be an incredible game. Looks like Marathi though does manage to get back up into the sky and probably wants to stay there. Arkan holding the line desperately here. Spearman as well doing decent work. Dread Spears and Bleak Swords slowly being forced off. Caster Skull still has enough ammunition to turn this game around, but it's simply not enough to protect him. It's trying to force its way back, but there's no way Intensity is going to let him shoot. He's just going to constantly hound it where possible. It looks like one of the Bolt Throws is even back online as well, as the balance of power goes more and more in the favour of the Dark Elves and Intensity. Down goes the glorious Casco Souls, You Shall Not Be Forgotten. Up to 250 kills, triple chevron, but down he goes, and Ark in the Black versus the World is simply not going to be tough enough. He is no Cetra. Another Spirit Leech though does come down on Marathi, doing some pretty good damage. Ark can come in for the snipe here. And perhaps the RNG gods are with Arkan and he can pull this one out. Another shot comes off though. Dread Spears going down in waves here, but the Casket does unfortunately say farewell, sweet prince, and it is Arkan against everyone. Marathi simply needs to stay up in the sky, use her magic where possible, and let the rest of these troops finish off Arkan the Black here. But very well played to both players, incredibly tight game. The poor Bleak Swords who have to fight this guy. It'd be a horrific event overall, even for a hardcore Dark Elf this good sky. Again, doing some good old whacks, beheading your friends all around you. Some of these Bleak Swords may break, but it's not going to be enough. Balance power will soon move over to army losses as soon as Arkan does start to dissipate, and there we go. Game 1 is to the Dark Elves and Intensity in this best of 5 finals, as one last Spirit Leech to spite Marathi there as she does go away. We'll start Wicked D. Hope you're doing good, brother. You have missed quite a lot, but it's all good. This is the first game of the final, so you've actually kind of made it in the perfect time. Tank managed to take down Hadri's, and Intensity took down Pacta, which is some really fun games overall. Really nice build coming in by Intensity, just going for a cheap and cheerful build. Absolutely mass forces and some good protection of his back line. Managed to see the day, but massive shout out to this Casket Assault. 271 kills is certainly something crazy. So there we go. Schwarzerhafen is going to be the next map. GG, well played. That Casket. Let's update the scoreboards and then I'll come and chill out with you guys for a little while. So Intensity taking that first game 1-0. Of course, guys, remember this is a best of 5, not a best of 3. So more time for these guys to show off their skill and entertain you. Needed some Tomb Guard. Tomb Guard would have been great there to really kind of hold back the enemy a little bit longer. But at the same time, he wanted the cheap and cheerful chaff just so he could go, wide and protect the Casket. The Casket of Feels, indeed. Indeed, Arkan can suck on Marathi's staff. He can indeed. Unfortunately, he got dragged down there. How did the Casket get taken 0 damage while in base contact with the swords for so long? Probably because of the loyal protection coming from those Skeleton Spearmen, dragging away their attention and clawing out their mind a little bit of like, oh no, there's some Spearmen, we should probably deal with them first. But in reality, that Casket needed to be dragged down quicker. It did such good damage. Yeah, nice to see so many new faces around though. Hope you guys do enjoy this type of content. We do it weekly, so feel free to subscribe if you enjoy this type of stuff. And give the video a big old thumbs up to spread the word and the for our Lord and Saviour, the coming of the duck kind. As one day, of course, the time of man shall be over, and the time of the duck shall begin. So, Tank going at Norskins, Banning at Greenskins, and Dowie, Intensity going Coast. Pretty cool matchup overall. Norskins do lack a little bit of leadership, so the fear and terror can cause big problems for them. But at the same time, Berserkers can chew through that front line very quickly. However, they've got to be a little bit careful of bombers. Javelins can tear down the big nasty monsters, but it's nothing super long range. No artillery or so forth that can pick them apart without taking damage. So javelins, very short range, have to get up close and will take fire from the pistols and all that good stuff. This is a good map as well for Intensity actually, on the coast. Quite a large open map, should be able to make a nice defensive formation. Intensity certainly been on a warpath in recent times. I believe I saw him win a couple of tournaments not too long ago. Over now and again I just pop in when someone's hosted a tournament even if I can't play. And just see who won. It's always quite entertaining to see who came up against who. Unfortunately, most tournaments are held on weekends. I do work weekends and Tuesdays, so most of my streams will be in Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Which is, it's not too bad. It gives me a little bit of space as well, away from other bigger YouTubers and so forth. Gives me my own little audience and allows people who work weekends to play in them as well. Which should be good. 8 missile infantry units incoming. You were 100% right first. I expect that from Intensity coming in here. You never know though, could go big crab rush, but it's so risky against the Norskins. They're certainly got the tools to take down some of the big nasty creatures with javelins, their horsemen, skin wolves, all that good tasty stuff. What I'm praying for is a full wolf build by Tank. That'd be glorious. On Wereking, skin wolves, hounds, ice wolves, all that good stuff. It'd be beautiful. Not very competitive, but I've seen people take it to good effect. It can work now and again. Well, it's crazy to see so many people watching. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. Staying safe as well in these turbulent times. I'm not sure if this is a record for most watching in one go. I think the Clan Wars got quite a lot, but still I really appreciate the support. Weekend tournaments aren't always the best, I agree. Well, it's nice just to mix it up a little bit. Bring in some side tournaments, allow different people to play. And normally you get, smaller turnouts of people entering and so forth. But at the same time, I think it makes them really interesting matchups and games. You get to see a nicer, wide variety of people. Good luck, have fun. Tank is ready. Representing Clan VM, by the way, who I need to get in contact with. I actually know one of their former players. I don't know if he was the head of the clan, but one of their former players as well. So we'll try and get maybe them doing a clan war on the channel as well as ODM by Intensity. We actually had an ODM civil war a while back, which I believe was won by Zyphos, which was crazy good fun. And certainly try to recreate those in the future. 4 bloated corpses versus Dabble Mammoth. Damn right. That's what I want to see. I actually saw that not too long ago by... who was it? It was Geese Howard, I think, which is Zutron Smith in the chat. In the Clan Wars, went full meme and brought 4 bloated corpses, I think. But it nearly worked. I believe he was played up against Red Legion, who's also in chat. He was a very good player himself. And that was certainly a good best of 3. Interestingly enough, after Durfu had his way of them, they were called skinned wolves. Damn right. Up with the Wood Earth Power Summation. What's up, V-Claw, man? How's it going, dude? Hope you're all good in the hood. Nice to see you around, man. I know you played in the tournament earlier on. How did it go? I know you won your first game, I think. Who did you come up against? And how did your games go? Anyway, here we are. Beautiful large open map with some nice defensive hills as well, so certainly expecting to see the Norskins pressure in and the coast on the defensive, probably up on one of these high grounds. But also some beautiful mountains in the distance as well, looking like teeth that have spurted up from the world. And here we go, guys. So for the forces of Intensity in the driving seat so far in this best of 5 series, we have Luther Harkin up in the skies once again, coming in with all his buffs, and we also have a Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires coming in with the expected Invocation Heck and Raised Dead. we have the Night Terrors. Really cool pick here, coming in by Intensity. Don't get to see these guys too often. Really extra Night Terror here, screaming into the skies. Not only do they look fantastic, they cause terror themselves, have Stalk, but unfortunately do Rampage. Now for his front line, we have a mixture of deckhand mobs with swords and polearms. As we've spoken about multiple times so far throughout this tournament, there to soak up the damage and hold back the enemy, while these bombers do decent work throwing those bombs over top of them and soaking up that good old juicy value. We also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 handgunners as expected. It's predictable, but at the same time very potent. It's predictable for a reason. Really fun build overall. No cannons or any of those, nothing too super long range. Now for the forces of the Norse guns here, no way, Tank is an absolute hero. He's bringing the almighty Frog Daddy right here. He's a pretty damn awesome guy, has regeneration, can certainly go toe to toe with those crabs and Luther Harkin effectively, but he's a massive bullet magnet for all of those bullets. But he's hiding behind this little hut right now, very wisely, in case there's any cannons. We have a Thamir Belfiend of fire as well, Button Head and Fireball, and a ton of Skin Wolves. So we have 2 Skin Wolves in the back on this side, and, oh no, just the 2. Okay, just 2 Skin Wolves. We have a ton of Javelins, however. 1, 2, mixed in with Marauder Hunters as well. It's more Javelins into the distance. So 4 Hunter Javelins, 1 Hunter with the Axes. A lot shorter range, but nice armor piercing. And then we have Marauders into the Sunset. So 1, 2, 3, 4, no 5, okay, only the 4 units there, and then Marauder Berserkers. These guys will tear through that front line like no tomorrow, making Ragnar Lothbrok incredibly proud. They're so cool looking with all their tattoos and double wielding axes. And if you guys have seen the Assassin's Creed trailer for Valhalla, but ever since that dropped, I've been playing Norska on quick battles. We also have the Beast of Tanashnar on the right hand flank, a fantastic regiment-renowned Norseman Warhound unit, which does come with anti-large, and Norseman Warhounds on the left flank. Looks like we have 3 Scurvy Dogs as well, hiding in the trees for Intensity, which we did miss earlier, and the battle is underway here. Going to be fun, going to be tough for the Norseguns to break through. They certainly have the numbers to do it, but Intensity is so good at reacting. He's not a static player. He won't sit there and kind of stagnate and just hold the formation regardless of what the enemy does. He reacts, moves his forces around to counter, which is certainly the best way to play. A lot of people think defensive play is for kind of people new to the game. It certainly is not. It's arguably harder than attacking, because getting the right matchup can be a little bit tricky. So it looks like, unfortunately for Tank, his Norseman Warhounds were pounced upon by the triple Scurvy Dogs. If you've been watching any of Darv Plays videos recently, you'll notice that rolling triple dogs like this can actually do a huge amount of burst damage early on and really force off some units. So first initial engagement has gone very well here for the Undead, as bombers start to come in doing some great work on top of these Marauders. As Burning Head does come down, but it looks like zombie pirate deckhand mobs do manage to dodge it. Intensity's micro really on point here, and unfortunately this is actually going to go through, oh no, it catches a few Marauders, but does a lot more damage to them. Oh, which is nice to see. These bombers starting to rack up some really fantastic value. Berserkers running into the front line, tearing these guys apart, and the bombers can only be so many places in at once, and wherever they're not, the Norsemen are going to be pushing through. Hunters even going up into combat here, it looks like. Oh no, they are going to be launching some point-blank range javelins into the faces of these zombies, do some okay damage overall. These hounds need to start wrapping and hunting down these handgunners. Look at the sheer volume of bullets coming in. These guys need to wrap as quickly as possible and push their way through. That is a disgusting amount of damage coming in. Fireball does swoop in as well, hop on top of the handgunners, doing some okay damage, but not so good at targeting those guys unless it is from the flank. Scurvy Dogs have hopped on top of the Hunter Javelins here, and this is a very early dominant performance, I think. Words! A very early dominant performance by the Coast here, getting some fantastic picks, and the Marauders are just getting annihilated all along the front line. They've done some decent damage back, even managing to shut down one of the bombers. Frog has managed to hop in here as well up against the Night Terrors. But unfortunately for Frog here, he is not going to be able to escape very quickly, and there's so many handgunners who can bring their guns to bear on him and really tear him apart. Norseman's trying to go tit for tat as much as possible. Skinwolves have hopped into the back line, but they're simply going to get crossfired now. These Beasts of Tanashnar need to get in here as quickly as possible to help out. The fantastic Burning Head down the back lines here does start to wreck up some kills on these handgunners, who have all switched to turn and just watch these Skinwolves get absolutely obliterated here. They need to finish off this unit as quickly as possible and hop onto the next, but it needs to be pressure coming in from all angles. It looks like the Thamir Belfiend is trying to hop into the back line, but he's been hunted by Luther Harkin, as poor Frog has been stuck in combat quite a long time here, completely surrounded, and lacking support. He will struggle. Scurvy Dog's going to be munching on Marauder Hunters all day, and as someone said earlier, the Hunters do become the hunted here, getting run over. in the back line. Beast Tashanar trying to rescue what troops they can by hopping on top of these Scurvy Dogs. Scurvy Dogs, though, simply going to be falling back. Underdogs, so powerful, having an unbreakable unit, which, I mean, I know they do start to crumble, but theoretically they are kind of unbreakable. To hunt down units is so powerful, and that's going to be an early win there, a very dominant display by Anticity, taking this best of 5, taking the first 2 games off it, pin himself in the driving seat here. That was pretty damn powerful. That was a very dominant display. The handgunners just annihilated whatever they touched, and great hound play as well. 62, 50, 120. Managed to newt the effectiveness of the Marauder Hunter Javelins, as well as scare off some of that backline pressure that tank could bring to the field. However, I do love the frog pick regardless. GG, well played. And we are now going to play on, let's think about this. I believe we did Gorgas on earlier in the tournament. Do we fancy? What haven't we done yet? I might just do River Max on because it's such a good map. Let us go. Keep saying that whilst I'm scrolling. People won't realise that I can't make my mind up. That's the plan. We've actually had quite big maps already, haven't we? Oh, we'll go Storm Demon. The first map, I believe, was at Troll Country. Storm Demon is map. Cool, cool. So you guys saying in chat, GG's? Yeah, that was brutal. That was really well played by Entity there. Oh, you came up against Hadri's V-Claw. That is pretty tough. You played Ben the Barman. Ben Barman's also a very tough opponent. Looks like you managed to take him down before moving into Hadri's. And there's a major bug. No, that made me lose my Lord. That's also good. Invisible Tempest. Ew. That, I haven't seen that bug before, but sounds very nasty. Fall of Mans, just by Faust. I can't remember if that is a good or terrible map. Blue River Reach. Cool, I'm going to write those down. They will be the next maps as long as they're good. I'm going to consult Falcon's map fin before we do that. Blue River Reach. Sweet. Just make sure none of those were sent in by Aristodemus or Raptor, who tend to do pretty mean maps. So, Anticity is going Norska himself here, and banning Coast and Dowie, of course, knowing that tank does like to bring his forces of the Dowie variety. Torgard is imbalanced apparently. 5 handgunners, what filth did I just turn on? This is the dirtiest of YouTube channels, I'll have you know. But yeah, that was rough. That was a little bit rough. Oh, tank coming in. Oh, with the lizard men. So I thought Anticity was going Norska. Yeah, you did say Norska. Cool. So, in my personal opinion, I don't know what you guys think about this. I've already spoken that Norska have great tools for dealing with large targets. I think, however, this matchup is heavily favoured in the Lizard Man favour. And there's multiple different ways you can play it. So, I like having a front line of Saurus Warriors protecting the Umbral Tide, sorry. So the Umbral Tide and Krokgar, believe it or not, with the Hand of the Gods. If they bring Frog, he's dead. He's dead before he reaches your front line. You Hand of the Gods him, you hit him with 1 or 2 volleys with the Umbral Tide, he's just completely gone. You bring a Skink Priest with a Man's Core Summon as well to chase down casters and so forth. Saurus tend to win the front line pretty effectively. Couple units of Cold One Knights to protect, and you get a Bastillodon with Solar Engine to entice your opponent in, as well as do huge fire damage, to Skin Wolves and so forth. However, you can go simply quite Temple Guard heavy, you can go Air Core heavy. There's so many ways to play this as Lizard Men, and I really like that counter pick by tank. I think it's very powerful. Don't forget to update the score. V-Claw coming in with the save there. Testy is 2-0, so he could take this series now, or is tank going to be able to claw his way back into this? You think Norska can do really well here? See, that's what a lot of people tell me. A lot of people do tell me Norska, so I'm just saying my opinion. But from my experience, maybe just from playing on ladder, I suppose, and stuff, I've had good results with it. That might be down to my opponents, I suppose, a little bit as well. I played Lizardmen against Ben's Tomb Kings, did nothing right, but somehow won. It's an interesting matchup. People, I think, originally thought Tomb Kings had a pretty hefty advantage. Your Shopty Bows are so fantastic at dealing with the large threats and so forth that Lizardmen can bring, but there's options for Lizardmen in most matchups, to be honest. There's a few they struggle in, but overall they're a pretty well-balanced force, I think. Looks like Intensity is ready. This could be the final game, guys. Could be, or we could have possibly 3 more games, who knows. After this I'm going to dart around the road, grab some dinner. What will Norse do against Salamander, Hunting Packs, Flyers? Loopy! What's up, my dude? Always great to see you around. Loopy played a really cool best of 5 up against A-Move Hacker on the channel not too long ago. You can always go check that out. And your boy Intensity is doing good, man. This is the finals. He managed to take out Pacta, which was a bit of an ODM civil war, unfortunately, in the semi-finals in a very hotly contested 2-1 series. Pacta very close there to get into the finals, and he's 2-0 up against Tank right now. Norsko can drop Manticores or Dogs on Sallies. Ah, that's why you take the 2 units of Cold One Riders. At least they're kind of my preferred build. Because the Cold One Riders with Spears will destroy Manticore in seconds. They will just simply rampage it and it gets stuck. And of course, Dogs get run over. But that's if you don't take too many Salamander Hunting Packs. Of course, if you take a ton, then it's harder to protect them. I just like taking the 1 Umbral Tide and the Bastiladon, which can kind of hold its ground pretty effectively. But yeah, I agree with you. There's 100% a lot of tools the Norscans have. I'm not saying it's impossible for them to win, but just from previous experience, if someone goes Norsca, I'm probably counter-picking with my Lizard Boys. But then I am a Lizman, like, main, I suppose. They are my favourite. Good luck, have fun. Fantastic to see. Let's get this cracking. Sounds like Carnosaur food to me. Let's go. Could be the final matchup. It's exciting time. Storm Demon, pretty cool thematic map. And after this, we will have a quick look at Fallen Man, make sure it's an all good map, and Blue River Reach. If we do go all the way. Might play Alpine Ridge actually in the final game if it goes to 5, because it's both the guys trying to claw their way to the top, quite thematic and cool. So guys, one last time, anything you're looking forward to? Any units in particular you're looking for in the latest DLC drop? Which most likely trailer tomorrow. I don't have any inside knowledge, but it's most likely they tend to drop a teaser 24 hours beforehand. Take the campaign Hell Cannon. I love it. I love it, Luffy. Alright, so for the forces of Intensity here, and the Norscans, very quick and fast moving force overall, with a ridiculous amount of range here. Coming over from Marauder, Horsemen, Throne Axes, mixed in with the Horse Masters all the way along the front line there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cav here, can be protected by the double Norscan Ice Wolves. We have 4 Javelins as well, and basically non-existent front line of just 3 units of Marauders. We have 1 unit of Marauder Chariots, which we saw him use to great effect early on. I don't see these guys terribly often at all, but they look pretty cool. Giant Halberds, doing their best. Chaos Warrior impression. We have a Famir Belfiend of Shadows. Where you gone, buddy? Down here. Coming in with Enfeebler, Melkoff, Mr. Defiant Miasma, and Pendulum. And Wolfred the Wanderer just on his little pony here. Coming in, though, with his... Oh, no Hunter of Champions. Interesting. Coming on his boat, though. But Krotgar will decimate you if he is brought. Although not many people bring Krotgar. I have a special place in my heart for him. And... guys... you're seeing this, right? We have the Shredder of Lustria and Lord Mazda Mundi coming from Tank, an Air Force of Pterodon Riders, a ton of Skink Skirmishers, 1 Saurus Warrior, and 1 Star Chamber Guardians. Lord Mazda Mundi coming in with all the expected spells, Apotheosis, Harmonic Convergence, all that good stuff. This, though, is a hard counter, I think, for this Lizardman build. So much AP long-range missiles are going to tear apart the Shredder and Mazda Mundi, and these Pterodons are going to have to certainly be on point to somehow give them some protection, but it's going to be rough. Marauder Horsemen getting way too close here to the Shredder, taking a little bit of a snap at them as they do start to sneak away. However, I suppose the Skink Cohort Javelins can get some good value here, but this is going to be a really rough, I feel, for the force of the Lizardmen. Skink Cohorts on the side here, been absolutely crumped on by Intensity as he does surround them and pull them apart. And yeah, I don't know what to say. This is a beautiful pick. I love this build so much, but I think it's got a really rough matchup here. A Pendulum is going to be coming down, just clipping the Skink Cohort and the Star Chamber Guards, not doing too much damage though, to be honest. A Banishment does drop by Mazda Mundi, but it looks like it does unfortunately go the wrong way, and it's going to be chasing these Saurus Warriors instead of this big blob of troops. And Intensity can simply skirmish, basically. Just get all the value, throw all his actors from all his units before moving up. And there's no units, really, for the Lizardmen to get to grips with. They're just going to have to try and endure this huge amount of missile pressure, and I don't think, even with Apotheosis, they're going to have enough healing in the world to pull that off. So, two interesting builds, very different builds. In comes the boat as well. He's going for a really weird kind of animation path here. Rather than hitting down the flanks, he's going across, perhaps thinking they're going to pull back and get some good value. Northern Ice Wolves getting deleted here by Star Chamber Guardians, but it's going to allow them plenty of time for these Mordor Horsemen, and more horsemen up on the side here as well, just to throw their axes and get some great value. Sheriff Lustria slowly coming in here and wailing on these guys where possible. Knock off Mr. Fire Moundsman has been popped down though, trying to slow him down and allow these nice Northern Ice Wolves to escape. Pterodon Riders trying their best here. Lord Mazdamundi as well. Looks like he's managed to pin in a Mordor Chariot. That Chariot certainly regrets charging in there and poking at the almighty prophet, I suppose, of the old ones. He's going to be turning around with a big old slack and just decimating this Chariot most likely. Although he is now getting javelined in the face a ton. A lot of the horsemen starting to be caught a little bit here, but it looks like most of the skinks have been forced off already, which is really going to struggle. Look at this sheer amount of ammunition that's going to be coming in from all of these javelins. It's going to be pretty impossible. But if Lord Mazdamundi and the Sheriff Lustria can get rid of most of these ranged units, they could easily walk over this front line and hop on top of the hunters, taking down a couple of units in a go. But at the same time, Mazdamundi then could be isolated by Wulfric and pull the car, and it could be a little bit rough. Pterodons, though, doing a fantastic job where they can to peel off units from the Horsemasters and Horsemen. Of course, they're not the focus of attention at the moment, as they want to drag down Mazdamundi and the Shredder. But a good idea here, I think, for Antiquity would be tug down the Pterodon Riders first, finish those guys off, take away the mobility of this Lizardman army, and then you pick apart the big units when they don't really have anywhere to go. Although, looks like most of the horsemen are still relatively healthy, starting to burn through the ammo though pretty quickly, and all the skinks are basically gone. We just have this big old blob of Star Chamber Guardians, Saurus Warriors, and then the big nasties with the Flying Corps as well. They're doing their best, but this is a lot of horsemen. If they can go over top of them, drop some rock drops, that could be pretty effective. Looks like we have another boat coming down as well, a bit better this time, catching the Star Chamber Guardians and raking through the Saurus Warriors, getting some good value. Wulfric, though, getting a little bit danger close to the Shredder and the Temple Guard, loses about half his HP there, which is a little bit scary. But now we're going to saturate in the Marauders. A Ruination of Cities is coming down, and this could be glorious. Let's see what it does do. And it goes away, away, and away. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. The Ruination of Cities is a very random pick. Now, a Banishment coming down here would be so glorious, but it looks like he's instead choosing to go on the Mordor Javelins. A nice shield of the other ones as well, kind of keep the Shredder of Lustria alive as that Banishment does come down. Look at that damage. Beautiful play so far by Mazdamundi. 26 kills despite the limitations they do have in the mobility game here. Pterodon Riders really trying their best to bring this game back, though. Lizardmen's certainly not out of this, which is very impressive when you look at the builds overall. Anticity's build certainly lacks that punch, but the in combat, but it's got the punch in the range. Wulfric getting danger close. He's flirting with death, trying to entice the Sheriff of Lustria to chase him and allow these javelins to get some nice rear attacks here. But in come Lords Mazdamundi. They don't really have a choice. They need to hunt down Wulfric, break him off, and then try and tear out the majority of this build. In comes the Pterodon Riders, used up the majority of the ammunition. Need to come in here and drop some rocks if possible. It's pretty hard micro. I do hear another pendulum going down on the Saurus Warriors, slowly decimating those guys, and Temple Guard as well, holding firm, but pretty low on health. Looks like Mordor Hunters trying where they can to bob and weave between those rock drops. And the Pterodons do start to hunt down, drop on top of these guys and try and do some decent damage. Wulfric, though, terrible misplay here by Antiquity, does get caught by the Shredder and Lord Mazdamundi. He really did not need to do this. He did not need to engage. He needed to chill out and get value where he could. And Shredder needs to keep following here. He cannot get tied up. He needs to force off the Wulfric here. Looks like Ice Wolf's going to be trying to get in here to try and protect their Lord. If he is gone, Lizardmen certainly have an opportunity to come back into this game. A huge amount of Javelin fire coming to Lord Mazdamundi, but a ton of the Javelins now being forced off and terror routed here. He needs to keep up the pressure, but unfortunately all the Pterodon Riders were chucked in there, which I understand, but leaving one unit left alive could have been huge and allowed him to chase off routing units. Lord Mazdamundi needs to hold strong here and get some fat apotheoses coming down to keep him in action. Looks like Wulfric does manage to rally right near the... so it's quite far away from the board edge here. Poor Shredder of Lustria has a long journey back as well. That's a real let off the hook here, I think, for Antiquity and his Norscan forces. And now poor Mazdamundi is completely isolated up against all these forces. But he's an absolute tank. If he has some more banishments or ruinations of cities, he can certainly get some great value here as well. Star Chamber Guardians do finally fall down. 86 kills, though, not bad at all, considering that magic firepower they get pushing them. And Mazmudi, Harmonic Convergence has been popped. I would save all my money up, honestly, on healing. A lovely Ruination of Cities, though, getting some really decent strikes down the lines here on these Javelins, who still have so much value left, although all the Horsemen are running out of ammunition. Needs to get the Shredder back here and hunt down these Hunters where possible and allow Mazmudi to do his stuff, although Enfeebling Foe has been popped and you really don't want him to break here. Pterodon Rise do swoop down, relieving some of the pressure as the Shredder does come back into action. Wulfric needs to stay away, just stay away over here in the corner somewhere, maybe come nearby to drop buffs and so forth. But Hunter Champions would be glorious here as well, but unfortunately he doesn't have it. Apotheosis does come down by Mazmudi and a Cold-Blooded, keeping him fighting as the Shredder comes charging in gloriously, putting pressure here on these Javelins. Close game, really well played by Tank overall. I thought he was doomed for when I saw the builds, but he's certainly made a game of it, and there's a ton of Norse guns left, which the only problem here could be the balance of power and Mazmudi breaking and so forth by being surrounded. But in a toe-to-toe fight, this is going to be pretty tough. Shredder Blaster needs to get relatively close to Mazmudi, but at the same time, he wants to take the pressure off him from these Javelins, but Wulfric could sneak in here and get some decent kills. Lord Mazmudi hold the line where possible, breaking a ton of the Norse gun forces, but there's still a ton of ammunition left on these Hunters. Is there any more units dotted around? No, it looks like it's just these guys for now. Wulfric going ballsy, coming with the Foe Seeker, but Shredder probably going to turn. Nah, he's going to simply dart away once again. He simply sees them and starts to get a bit worried here. But all the Norse gun leadership is breaking, guys, and a mass rout is coming in. Is Tank going to be able to pull this out? This is going to be a incredible game if he can pull this out. Another Shield of the Old Ones coming down. The problem is he has nothing to chase all these Norseman units, and they're simply going to rally time and time again. Wulfric fleeing once again for the hills, but he should come back. And Familiar Baleful in the Shadows once again forced off. But the Shredder of Lustria has been caught out of the Shield of the Old Ones. Just 1,400 health left. His leadership's going to go down, and he's simply going to be chased off the battlefield, which is super unfortunate. The balance of power now heavily favours the Norskans, and that is going to be game. What a close game. Very well played to Tank. He worked very hard there to try and drag himself back into the game, but not quite enough. And at the death there, surrounded, and the balance of power pushed him over. If those guys didn't break, he certainly had that game in the bag. Huge kills across the board, but of course, lost all that value from the Skinks early on is a little bit of a disaster. Complete outpick, yeah. GG, well played. But yeah, as soon as he saw the builds, it wasn't game over because we can see Tank almost managed to drag it back, but very well played. Well played all. And congrats. Anticity. You are this week's champion and have booked a place in the grand finals. But very well played to both players there. Honestly, Tank did a phenomenal game to bring that back. But Anticity, fantastic all tournament, is an absolute don at the moment in the Total War scene. Just doing fantastic work all round. So I'm going to chat with you guys in chat for a little bit, so do feel free to ask any questions as we do finish off here. I'm going to just get the bracket back up again. Oh no, I don't have the updated bracket. No. Well, I can pop up. Where is it for you guys? This right here. As I update the scoreboard, Anticity 3-0. So this is the old bracket, so this were the two semi-finals we had. But Pacta lost, unfortunately, 2-1 to Anticity in the semi-final. Tank managed to take Hadri's in a 2-0 series before the final was 3-0 there. Unfortunately, I don't have the full fin up yet, but it's all good. That's all good. So any questions, guys, feel free to ask. If you do want to join these type of events in the future, feel free to join my Discord, subscribe, like, all that kind of good standard YouTube stuff that I have to say. We will see. If Wulfric goes down, honestly, if Wulfric got chased away there, it was over. But I think the Hounds just about managed to stop the Shredder in its tracks long enough. They got enough distance to manage to escape, but it's one of those situations, like, if the Shredder hadn't have chased, Tank probably would have won, because it would have left Mazmudi so isolated, could have put more pressure on the Javelins and so forth, but you have to take that risk that you're going to be able to chase off Wulfric. It was the right play, but it did end up costing him. That was close, man. I know you're talking about Aristamos. It didn't look close to start with, but Tank certainly managed to pull that back quite a lot. Full ammo missile cav in melee. Sad face. Sad face indeed. But Shredder of Lustria, what an absolute beast bringing that in. But that was certainly quite hard. Looks like you guys all had a good fun. You even took a game off in Faust. Faust is a great player, man. GG's, and thanks for entertainment. No worries. Thanks for playing, guys. It's been hugely entertaining. I hope you did enjoy. And yeah, see you guys next time. We do these weekly. We'll probably have a stream tomorrow. I normally stream Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I stream a different game on Fridays, which isn't Total War. We're currently doing a run through of Grist, which is super fun. It was recommended by A-Move, and certainly a good fun game overall. Warfric go sit in the corner and have a cup of tea. Definitely. He needed to stay the hell out of there. He almost lost it at the end again because he chucked Warfric back in, and even trying to bait out the Shred of Lustria to get his centre of attention onto Warfric and not the javelins, he still broke and ran away, which was not good for the Norscan leadership at all. Makes one feel better losing to the winner overall. It does indeed. Anyway, guys, looks like that's all it. If there's no more questions, peace, and thanks for tuning in. And as always, guys, stay awesome.